welcome to Roundtable Live for April 8th, 2016. My name is BaerTaffy. I'm joined by MathasGames, RockLeeSmile, and who's this over here in the corner? Who's that guy?
Wait, no, it's someone else.
Well, you're Nick. You're in a corner, too.
No, I said egg.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Hey, it's another animal-named YouTube person. It's MichaelalFox joining us on the show again. How's it going, buddy?
Good. It's good to be back. This is nice. Nice weather outside. Nice people in my computer. It's great.
People ask a lot, like, how do you become successful on YouTube? I think 95% of it is having a name that has to do with animals, apparently.
Yeah, no, absolutely it is. I think I wouldn't be nearly where I am today without the assistance of the existence of bears.
Bears, yeah.
All you need to do is get rid of me and Nick and put Brian and Red Panda Gamer, and you could have like all animal podcasts.
The 4 Animal Podcast.
It's such a better name already.
Last Gray Wolf.
Oh yeah, there you go. No, we got plenty.
That's so many.
Drop your animal YouTube name in chat. We'll give you some channel pimpage there for free for the early crowd here. Those of you who also are maybe tuning in for the first time, thank you very much for joining us on the Co-optional podcast on Tuesday. The VOD of that just went up yesterday. If you missed it, feel free to check it out over on Total Biscuit's YouTube channel. That was a lot of fun. Had a good time.
I liked it a whole bunch.
So go check that out.
Good discussions too.
Ryan said he had enough and quit.
Yeah, he did. That's exactly what happened. So after the co-optional, there was this whole big fiasco. Ryan was talking about how he's so sick of us selling out, you know. So it was just about high time he got replaced by Fox.
As he sells out with me on a different thing.
Yeah, if anybody did catch us on that, you should be aware that our lineup is usually, instead of MichaelalFox, it's Northern Lion, but it's going to be changing a little bit over the next couple months because Mathas is going to be away a lot, as well as I'm missing a show for PAX, and well, we're going to make our best. But it might just be Baer alone.
All by himself.
Don't. No, it's not. I'll just set that precedent now. If it's just me, I'm just going to go ahead and say we won't do it. Also, a fancy new thing over here. If you're watching the live VOD and not audio only, we got the little topic updater ticker thing there.
Whoa!
Now. Yeah.
Oh, shit!
So people no longer have to clumsily and awkwardly wander around the podcast space wondering what the fuck's going on. You got a little ticker down there to let you know now. So that's fancy additions to the production values that I'll probably forget about a lot of the time through the show, but remind me and hope. Well, no, actually, I can't read chat, so never mind. It's all on me. It's all on my shoulders to make sure that that goes smoothly. On today's,
this is going away for a while. You're just taking me into the backyard, and just shooting me and just putting me out of my misery. He's going away, guys.
I mean,
he's going away
in the bar.
We
South Korea.
We tried for as long as we could to raise the money necessary to put him in a camp for a while, but turns out nobody loves him enough to do that. So I guess it's just the old Yeller treatment for good old MathasGames. Poor guy. Let's talk about our docket today. That got really macabre, didn't it?
It's it's all right.
What are we going to talk about, Baer?
We're going to talk about Bandai Namco and how much of a piece of shit they are as a personified person. Rock Band 4's Fig campaign just sort of figgled away, I suppose you could say.
Heyo.
Oh, figgled.
I want to talk a little bit more about Fig in general as well. I think there's an interesting discussion to be had there. We're gonna be touching on Hyperlight Drifter and Enter the Gungeon again. Probably going to be an extension of the conversation that we had on Tuesday, if you were there for that. Both very good games now, I think we've come to the conclusion. Paladins, a little bit more of that as well on the docket. I'm going to talk about mobile games again because there have been developments in my life, and I have so many interesting things to tell you about it. It's so fun. And followed by just a little bit of general video game news. There's not a lot going on in the world this last week or so.
I swear I read something this morning, and I could just be wrong, but I swear I read, like, God of War 4 was announced or some shit.
Gears of War 4 was announced.
Gears of War 4 has a date.
Also put that in our chat.
Okay. That's where I read it, and I just misread it then, apparently.
I'm a new source of news for Mathas.
You are my new source.
There is
there's God of War leaks that show, like, possible footage of him in a Greek setting. That's what I'm thinking as well.
Oh, shit. Well, there we go. He's just got to go through all the mythos, basically, right? It's just one right after the other.
Well, yeah, we'll talk. We could possibly talk about that. I'll link it to you guys. Anyway, continue.
For now, let's just shit on Bandai Namco for a minute, can we? Let's talk about this.
On Poutine.
Oh wait, no, we do want to do that. There's absolutely no segue for this. So why don't you just insult everything Canadians hold dear?
And well, the segue is we were talking about it right before the podcast started, and I just don't. So my confusion with poutine, because I've had poutine now, is that how is that a Canadian thing when we have it in America and it's called cheese fries or chili cheese fries?
No, that because the poutine it has to have cheese curds.
It sounds like you don't know what it is.
It can't be shredded cheese or
whatever.
We don't
have that in America. We don't have like cheese curds on fries and just call it like cheese curd fries.
I know you have it in like some northern states and stuff like that, and in some other states like a few places in Texas I've heard have it and stuff like that. But it's not. I mean, poutine is
quintessentially what is poutine?
Yeah, hit me with.
It's French fries. You know, you take TLC, tender, loving care. Those potatoes make good French fries, good crispy outside. You get
like McDonald's does.
The cheese curds.
I think, McDonald's fries are probably the staple for any good poutine,
McDonald's
right?
has poutine in Canada.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet.
It's not very good.
I wouldn't think so.
Continue. And then you have gravy or poutine sauce, as some call it, which is usually like a turkey chicken or turkey beef chicken beef mix of broth.
I imagine the poutine sauce varies locally, right?
It does. I mean, that's one of the, you can't really cheat on the cheese curds. There are good fresh cheese curds. So the squeaky cheese, they're fresh if they squeak when you bite them.
Squeaky cheese.
And
it squeaks on your teeth. It's real.
Typically, russet fries will be used. It's the gravy is where, places can kind of, it's their signature thingy. They add a few different spices or whatever. Or it's that's where you really make your difference. And, it's one of those things... There's only 3 components, but that's where it's so difficult to make such a amazing poutine because there's just 3 things.
Right.
3 things.
Yeah.
But there can be more. I mean, you can get blends of poutines that have additional components to them.
That's the next level. So that's where other places are opening up. They got their basic traditional poutine, and then it's I've had the Nacho Grande, which is like poutine with chili and guacamole and salsa and sriracha and
that's
jalapenos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that is a Taco
I've
Bell.
ordered that. Yeah.
Pulled pork poutine, which is delicious, or the 3 porks, which is pulled pork, sausage, bacon, and all these other ones. The hamburger poutine. It's just it's good.
Hamburger helper poutine.
Yeah, man.
Oh man, that would have been a great addition to that album that they dropped last week. Goodness, that thing was fire. Did you guys hear that? Hamburger Helper's April Fool's album. It was legit. It was the real deal.
I saw a weird picture. It was like the glove covered in gold or something.
Man.
I don't know what that was.
It's not bad. It's like the music itself. It's pretty good. Obviously, all the lyrics, it's just yo, throw that meat on the oven, motherfucker. No, they don't actually swear or anything like that. But
they got R-rated.
I wish they did. Honestly,
it's all about that family meal, dropping them swear bombs.
If they're gonna drop a rap album, why not just go all in with it, right? Why not make it fucking
style? You make it family friendly.
No, you got to go balls deep gangsta rap, dude. That's the only way I would have really supported this whole endeavor. They got a lot of love from it though, over 1 million plays on SoundCloud. Totally ridiculous.
That's decent advertising for them.
Mm-hmm.
Hear about Facebook launched live streaming or whatever, or live video feed,
like a Periscope type thing.
And BuzzFeed did a video of their wrapping elastics around a watermelon, and until it did its thing. 800,000 people were watching. 800,000.
What?
Yeah.
If they used a hydraulic press, they probably would have tripled it.
Probably.
I want to see a watermelon crushed by a hydraulic press now.
Pretty sure it's already a thing
has
on that
to
channel.
already
All right,
exist,
I have to look. I'm gonna go watch. Look, that is a visceral joy I have in watching that damn channel just crush things.
You know what?
So I gotta shout out Fox's love for poutine one more time before we move on, for the fact that he's actually devoted himself so passionately to this cause that he plans to create a website that helps show the proliferation of poutine throughout the United States so people can find it and rate it on its quality.
I've been working on it.
He's bought the domain,
slowly.
He's working on it now, and it's a big deal to him. So I just wanted to make sure everybody understands, this is a major component of what Fox brings to this podcast, is his love of poutine.
I have a fucking emote. Mouth poutine.
Damn.
All right, that's all. We can move on.
All right.
now.
Let's go
Bowl
video
of
game.
poutine. No, hold on. I'm back on the hydraulic press train because I think we need to jump on this train. Honestly, hydraulic press crushes every Nick's Weird game after we do it. Right. So it's like
they're
one
part of
and
my
done.
collection. I bought those.
I know it's a
You
commitment.
can't just crush them.
Think of
Or-
the YouTube money, man.
Nick, if for every game that you crush, they'll crush one of Mathis's amiibos.
Oh, that's
All right,
good.
man.
Nope.
We're all making
Especially the golden
sacrifices,
Mario.
man.
Sacrifice my whole video game collection to kill your amiibos.
How much?
No.
How much do you love the show? You got to prove it.
Shot, boys.
I'll quit. I'll quit the show.
Look, man, I'm willing to do this so we can all make more money, and then you can buy those amiibos again.
And then we don't have to put you out to pasture. We can give you a proper send off
you
with
don't have to take a
Patreon
shotgun
funds.
shell to the dome.
Kill my amiibos, man. Just put me out of my misery. I love my amiibos too much.
Bandai
Makes weird
Namco has been sort of scummy lately, haven't they? I mean, we're not really on good speaking terms
Oh,
with them
All right,
at the
hold on.
moment.
Scummy.
I don't know if "scummy's" the right word.
It's the wrong word.
What's the word for
They're
it? What's the word for it?
mismanaging their launch miserably.
That seems good. I feel
There you
like
go.
this latest thing is a little scummy though. So what's really spurring this is this is a silly thing, by the way. We're not actually like very angry about this. It's just so ridiculous. Namco Bandai teased a really big announcement yesterday regarding Dark Souls 3. And at the moment, there's still a pretty good amount of hype surrounding Dark Souls 3, right? There's a lot of people really interested in it. Reviews are looking pretty damn good as well. People that have played the game seem to really be enjoying it. It seems like it's probably going to be one of the better entries in the Dark Souls lore. But their big announcement, it was a merch store. It was a merch store. That's it? That's what it was? You go on your official Twitter page and you say, big news coming for Dark Souls 3.
Dude, let's back up a second. It wasn't necessarily that they said Dark Souls 3. They just said Dark Souls in general, which made us start to speculate wildly.
It's almost worse, isn't it?
Because
Yeah.
people were going, well, what is this going to be? Like a Dark Souls 1 remaster, a Demon Souls remaster? Maybe they're bringing it to PS4 or PC or something? No, it's some shirts that don't even look very good.
Some shirts.
And, like, I think a hat also. Is there a hat in there?
Something like that, yeah.
Has
So you
to
got...
be a hat.
I mean, not only are they shirts and merch and all that stuff, but it's just... Some of these... They're going pretty meme-centric, aren't they? And I don't know how I feel about that. It's just...
Low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, it is. It is.
I don't know
it's
how
a
much you
little-
want to get into it, but this is kind of on the back of a bit of a confusing element for people who are involved in the back end of the YouTubing and press world with their very confusing and kind of mishandled embargo dates when it comes to DS3. I was very fortunate to get a copy of it pretty early, but I was at first denied by them, and thankfully Ryan pulled a couple strings for me. But there were people who were apparently getting it very early and then had permission to post or stream or do various things, and they thought they were good to go as far as this one certain boss in the game, which I won't say what it was. Then eventually they changed it up. Also, the fact is that the game came out in Japan, and there's an English version. Apparently, you can just download it and play it on Xbox One. So that kind of confused the whole thing. Some people could just play it with no press embargo at all. And then people who are actually following the embargo could get in trouble, whereas people who don't follow the embargo can't, which is stupid.
Yeah.
And then they panicked and said everybody who has an early copy can't put out any more footage at all until the release date. So they're like, no, put it, like, hide it. It's like, it's too late. It's out there. Like, it's just like, let it go at this point. Like,
I love that response at any point when something gets on the internet, by the way. It's like, no,
like,
take
no,
it back.
no.
Hold on,
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah,
No, it's
Pandora's
gone.
box has been opened. Everybody, please close that box and put all of your stuff back in it.
At
as if
once,
that's a possibility.
if you would
You know,
please.
it's a problem for people who are planning out a series that goes over a given amount of time when you just say, now you can't post any more of this daily content. I mean, that really messes the series up. Not that they have to cater to that. It's not their problem what our series are doing. But it is just a very confusing message about a game that is steeped in lore and hidden secrets and things that you want the community to discover all at the same time. When you give people access to a game like that a month early, and then you say, here you go, you can do all you want. Oh, actually you can't, but you can, but can't. It's like, well, what are you trying to do here? What's the message you're trying to send about this game and your brand and how you perceive this? And I think where it becomes a bigger problem is now they've adapted this to become about a merch store, and they're really trying to push this mainstream image for a game that is quite niche. And they don't seem to necessarily understand where it falls or where it should fall, and they feel like they're kind of forcing it a bit. Do you agree?
Yeah, I actually agree wholeheartedly. Like, it's so weird that with Dark Souls, I think in particular, that it's the way they're doing it. Like, because like you said, Dark Souls is one of those things that the community likes to explore deeply for months all together.
Right.
It's like a group effort. They're like pulling apart the world, taking all little hints that they can, trying to piece together what the story of the lore is and all this stuff. And I can understand with Dark Souls being like, here's a 1 week head start for streamers and YouTubers. You have a week. We're going to give it to you a week early. Have fun. Here's where you got to stop. But you have a week to play with it, and then it comes out. But they gave like a month just about head start to the streamers and YouTubers, and then there was the Xbox One debacle. They're trying to put it back in the bag. It's weird that with a game that is so heavily community-driven because of the way people like to discover the secrets, that they decided 3 weeks a head start was what they wanted to do, or a month head start. It ruins it because, you know, these people are going to see so much more of the game than when the game actually comes out. It ruins that whole community feeling, I guess. And people are going to not be able, a lot of people aren't going to be able to help themselves, and they're going to spoil themselves on the early half of the game because they just want to see it so much. I don't understand the thought process of, here's a month head start instead of a week. Like, 1 week head start. That's what they did with Dark Souls 2, right? You, Josh, and you, Nick, Josh, and Ryan, you guys the three of you had a head start on Dark Souls 2, right? Like, for a week?
We got about a week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Josh, Ryan, and I, and we were trying to play it with no hints because there weren't any, and we were just kind of swapping stories between each other and Phil Kohler, which was kind of fun. Yeah. And I think that's the ideal way to play a Dark Souls game, personally. I know everybody has their own opinions. It's fine. But I like having a small, tight-knit community of people that are all trying to discover it all on our own. We all have our own stories to pass to each other, our own techniques and strategies and ideas. And the whole thing feels like it's much more big and grand that way than if you just go, oh, well, the whole game's been played already in its entirety. All the secrets have been found. All of the discoveries have been made before the game is even released. I don't know. It just doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
unfortunate.
Ryan likes to say we have an inside baseball perspective on a lot of this sort of stuff, but it's unfortunate that this really does affect a ton of people now. It's not just the YouTubers and the media and the streamers that are being impacted by the poor pre-release windows of access that they've provided. It really is just become such a debacle that now a lot of people's experience of the game has sort of been ruined, unfortunately, and without recourse for them to fix it at all. It's just there's things that you can't unsee, unfortunately, and the way that they've handled this now, I mean, the whole tweeting about the merch store thing is really more silly than anything else, but it is sort of indicative of the way that they're approaching this. I mean, they don't really seem to have a full grasp of what they're working with. This is the kind of game that really, you kind of just need to not fuck up the release, right? As long as you don't fuck it up, this is still going to sell really well.
And it's also weird that they held it back, too, when it clearly seems like the game is finished.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're like giving people one month.
Yeah, they released it in Japan.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, they're holding it a month. They're holding it a month back for this like exclusive access when the game is done. It's done.
Yeah. They held it back for exclusive access that they then took away.
Mm-hmm. Why at that point? Why not just fucking let it go into the wild? Like, all right, fine, fuck it, we're releasing the game. Like, here you go.
When they said we're putting the embargo back in place and nobody can post anything, that's when they should have just said, okay, the game's now coming out. Now I know it's not that simple. They have marketing shit and PR shit and all of that lined up for certain dates. Mm-hmm. The pressing, I assume, has been done already for a while, hopefully, but I don't know. The hope, though, is that they could sort that shit out faster. And I mean, the fact that they coordinated it for Japan, and then they had this whole snafu with the Xbox One, it's not region locked, you can get it. The game is unofficially available for like 3 weeks before it's available. It's just really weird.
Yeah.
Welcome to the digital world, like Namco. Like, this is people can get their games online nowadays. If they don't have to even do that much to get their Japanese version of the game, if that's what they want to do. It's just crazy because this is a game that people we just want to play it together, and we want to discover this world together. You're making that very difficult.
Yeah, Fox, what's your take, man?
I mean, there's a lot of I feel a lot of parallels. Like I didn't have early access to Dark Souls 3 because I'm, not
You're
good
not
at
famous.
those kind of games.
You're not
well,
famous
I'm
like
Yeah,
we
man,
are.
Like, I had to fight for mine. Like, I had to like bug the guy, the poor guy. I was like, "Hello, hey, how's it going?" Like every 2 days, I was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
hey."
I'm like, I don't know. People told me like 50-ish% of the way through Dark Souls 1, maybe a little more at this point. But I don't want to play it until I at least beat Dark Souls 1. I don't know. Some people say I don't need to play Dark Souls 2, really, kind of. So I might.
It's a good game. It's not as good as Dark Souls 1, but it's good. I'd say it's worth playing.
Really
Yeah,
quick tangent there. Let me postulate this. Dark Souls games, I feel like a lot of people could probably just jump into Dark Souls 3 if you're not too worried about the lore, right?
Yeah, if you don't give a shit about the lore, why not?
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
But that's actually, I mean, that's one of the things that's given me pause was how, Mathas and I were just texting or Skyping text, whatever, the other
Hey,
night.
Bae, how's it going?
And he was saying,
As you guys do.
"Hey, babe, I really like the lore in Dark Souls 3." Like, apparently, it's pulling them in.
XOXO 100 emoji.
I appreciate that
Good shit.
from games where they kind of actually make you kind of sit back for a second and stop with all the run in there and actually learn about the lore. I mean, I really appreciate that from games, and I think it's cool when they develop that because as a younger society of gamers and stuff like that, I feel like our attention span is so like reduced. So I really appreciate games when they do that. So that kind of makes me want to go and play Dark Souls 2 just to kind of get involved in the lore a little more. I mean, honestly, when I've been playing through Dark Souls 1, I haven't been paying that much attention to it, so...
Even if you paid a lot of attention, you'd still miss a lot of it. The majority of the lore that comes in that comes from speculating about item descriptions and trying to piece together these little very vague fragments of ideas. I mean, the majority of people that even have really good ideas about the lore are still kind of saying it's our opinion what that lore might be. There's no official canon for the most part other than the little bits that they actually write out in the item descriptions. So it's just about, it's putting together clues, really. Even if you're paying really close attention, a lot of that stuff is still up for interpretation.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's why I'm really enjoying my Dark Souls 3 playthrough right now too, because it's the first out of the Dark Souls games that I've really dug into it like that. Like I didn't do that with Dark Souls 1. I didn't do that at all with Dark Souls 2 either. I kind of played those games for the mechanics, which was really fun. I loved them. But for the first time, I'm playing Dark Souls 3 for the mechanics and for like the lore aspect. And because of that, I'm really enjoying Dark Souls 3 because I'm just trying to dig the story and figure out what's going on. Because Dark Souls 3, no spoilers at all, but the world is just a lot bleaker than Dark Souls 1 and 2, and those are pretty bleak worlds. And Dark Souls 3 comes across as even more desperate and deprived than the other two worlds. Yeah. So I'm enjoying it.
When you say desperate and deprived, do you mean more of like a Zack Snyder, Superman, Batman, just like dark as shit?
Well, well, I will say like the art style of Dark Souls 3 is it's a good mix of Dark Souls and Bloodborne. There's an interesting mix there. But when I mean like desperate and deprived, like Dark Souls 1 world is a world on the brink of darkness. It's like the brink of destruction. And Dark Souls 3 is if Dark Souls 1 was close to the cliff, Dark Souls 3 feels like it's like his feet are halfway over the cliff into despair. Like it seems like such a much more desperate world for whatever reason, and I'm excited to learn why.
The metaphor that I've been thinking of, and this is not steeped in much that might actually be real lore, but it also may end up being. So the concept is that there's a fire in Dark Souls that is metaphorically and literally possibly going out. Dark Souls 2 is a continuation of that concept, and both thematically and color-wise, you can see that it becomes bleaker and more pale, and the third iteration feels the most pale and ashen if you were to continue that visually alliterative metaphor.
I dig it.
So that's what he means, I think, when you say bleak. It looks bleak, like the colors of it.
And in the story, too, and like the little clues that they've been given, it's a world on the brink of despair, more so than the other games, I think, which I really like. I think it's really, really cool.
I also think the lore is harder to get away from in Dark Souls 3 than either of the other two for reasons that I won't get into right now. I'm looking forward to having discussions about this.
Me too.
Yeah.
I wish I would be able to get past this thing I'm stuck on so I can see what happens.
Curious where you're stuck on, but I'll let you know when I get there.
Dark Souls 3 does come out officially next week.
Tuesday.
So, yeah,
3 days.
we've got plenty more meaty discussion to have.
Oh,
regarding
before
Dark
you move
Souls
on,
3.
though, I wanted to quickly add also that I think a lot of the reason, I forgot this before, but they reminded me in chat, I think a lot of the reason to do with the weird botched timing has to do with the differences between the American and Japanese tax cycle. Apparently, they wanted to finish things up before the end of a quarter, whereas theirs ends like a few weeks before ours does. So that could have a lot to do with it.
The staggered release.
You know,
I'm not sure that still excuses it, but it explains it a little bit.
Yeah, makes it a little... Well,
Again, I don't
it
think it would be
still
that big
sucks.
a deal. Honestly, I don't think it really would have been that big of a deal if they just didn't give a 1 month head start to streamers and YouTubers. Like that was their mistake.
I think they had a better plan in mind, and then shit kind of hit the fan a little bit, and they didn't really have a recovery plan at that point. And that's sort of where we find ourselves. But yeah, I agree. I think really just the whole preview package they put together was a little flawed from the start. It really is just as simple as, or at least I feel like it should be as simple as give a select amount of streamers and YouTubers a week before the release. And there you go. Yeah.
It's just a pretty easy story when
really
you put it that way.
straightforward. Yeah.
Also, actually, I forgot this too. This is kind of another big point. Is they sent out these massive press kits, and I saw NerdCube tweet that his was worth like $400 worth of stuff because people were reselling them.
Oh my
and
god!
He made a statement that was something to the effect of like, "Oh, I really look forward to seeing all the reviews that don't disclose that they received this."
Oh yeah.
That's
I don't know, man.
$400
got a
worth
code.
of junk,
Hey,
huh?
I just got a
Well,
code.
that's what it was selling for apparently on eBay or wherever they were reselling it. I mean, that's a pretty large amount's worth of monetary value to add to something
God,
that might
yeah.
sway your opinion. And even if that wasn't the case, that doesn't sway someone's opinion, I really would hope that people would disclose that they received that and what that entails.
Yeah.
Because it is seriously, it's a big deal. Like, it's this big old crate with like Dark Souls stamps all over it, and like it opens up and there's these envelopes with wax seals on them.
You would think you just keep that stuff, you know? Just here's an idea.
Yeah, but people are some assholes.
I know,
and they
but
want
if
to
you
sell
get
everything.
sent review things like that, just fucking keep it. Come on,
I
just
know.
don't get on eBay. Just stop it.
I know.
Do it.
Just do it. Just stop.
This was a thing that we would see at GameStop all the time. These managers would get this stuff at trade shows. They want to sell everything and make money off of it. And
They
it
sell
was
it
so
to you
shitty.
guys?
No, they would sell it online.
Okay, well, that's a little
And
better.
there were employees that tried to get hired to GameStop just so they could get swag, which there wasn't that much of it really for lower end employees or lower in the ladder. But yeah, people want to just sell everything.
I thought they were maybe holding like in GameStop auctions. Like the managers would show up back from a convention. All right, here we go. We got ourselves some Bethesda shirts. $20.
There was sort of like a pecking order, though, like when the manager would come back from Vegas with the box of loot and then they would divvy it up amongst the employees. It's like, well, you can pick like 2 things worth 4 points, and then the lower employees can pick 2 things worth 2 points.
Ooh.
There wasn't really point values. It was just...
I was going to say, it sounds like you guys worked at like a GameStop/arcade. You know, like turn in your points for
yeah, we got to play skee-ball to get the loot.
You get that little fucking candy necklace that tasted like plastic. That thing was great.
Yum.
Yummy. Well, Dark Souls. I was gonna say, speaking of failures, but that's not nice. it's a very minor part of Dark Souls 3's launch that has been a failure, so that's not true. But this one's a failure. Rock Band 4 for the PC. The FIG campaign to raise $1.5 million has come up short. You guys, I don't know if you saw it already.
Almost
Do you have any speculation what they ended up at?
Didn't they like halfway?
400,000.
I honestly didn't look.
That is a pessimistic viewpoint, Mr. MichaelalFox.
400,000 is pessimistic?
Well, in a $1.5 million goal, yeah, it's sort of...
Yeah.
And it's
I
definitely
think it's
below
realistic,
failure.
actually.
Usually the goals on these things, they put them lower, too, than what they, like...
Yeah.
They actually need.
Really think that, you know, what they would want or what they would expect, right? So, because, like, when something reaches a goal or is getting closer to a goal, it, like... That kind of, like, helps accelerate it and get people more and more into it, so...
My guess is somewhere between like 700,000 and 900,000. I don't think they hit 1 million, did they?
You pretty much nailed it. It is about 700. It's about $800,000.
Okay, yeah. So they got a little over halfway.
Just over halfway, 52% of their goal. So there's a few interesting pieces to this. They posted an update, first of all, basically saying, "Hey, well, fuck, like that didn't work." The general message though that we're getting from Harmonix is that they're probably not going to be defunct as a result of this. I'm pretty sure they're still kicking around. I think they've got a couple more ideas in the works. Plus, I mean, it's not like they are crowdfunding failures entirely. We got to remember back in 2014 they actually raised just shy of I think like $1 million for the remake of Amplitude. So they've had success there in the past. This is not necessarily a sign that Harmonix is out the window. But it is probably the nail in the coffin for music games. Would you guys agree with that?
Sad.
I'm not surprised. I mean, I think Rock Band's great and everything, but even when this was announced, I was saying, like, is it still too soon for more Rock Band and Guitar Hero? And everybody's like, no, it's not. And then it didn't sell all that great, and the track list wasn't even that good. And when you're taking I would consider, at least at this point, like a Rock Band 4, a relatively niche game or not that popular game, and taking it to a much more niche market, I guess. Because Rock Band games are party games, right? That's what they're made for, like living room experiences on your couch, you know, playing with these plastic instruments. How many people have a computer in their living room? Come to my office, guys, so we can play Rock Band.
Well,
everybody crowd into my bedroom here.
Yeah. You use Steam Link or something, but then you'd have to deal with delay.
That's horse stuff, and that's, exactly, input delay and whatnot. And it's just, I don't think it was going to be that great of an idea in the first place. And I don't know, I just thought it was, music party games are just, I'm still, like, done with them from Rock Band 2 and 3 and Guitar Hero 75. Like, I was done.
I wasn't,
but they didn't make the right thing for me, sadly.
Yeah, that sucks.
I read something online the other day that, I mean, I read this online, so take it with a grain of salt, but apparently Aerosmith made, like, just an insane amount of money off of Guitar Hero Aerosmith. Just a ridiculous amount of money.
I remember Guitar Hero Aerosmith came out, like, right around the peak of Guitar Hero, right when it's beginning to decline. Yeah, so I'm sure they made bank during that time.
I think they really, like, that was the cash cow right there. They were just in time for it. Exactly like you said. Like, they reached the top of the mountain, and then the decline was instant and inevitable, apparently.
It sucks because I think we've talked about it. During the decline, a cool idea came out, DJ Hero, and I liked DJ Hero a lot. I thought that was super fun. But it was too much. They were just, like, overflowing the market. What was that there, Mal?
No, nothing.
What was that? What'd you say?
Nerd.
It's my face.
Hey, no. DJ Hero is an excellent game. DJ Hero is still fun. I love DJ Hero. I'm gonna fight you.
It sucks because unlike flooding a market with something with a genre is nothing new, right? We have first-person shooters, there's a fuck ton of them. Survival games, there's a fuck ton of them.
The MOSAs are now starting to really overpopulate a little bit.
That's nothing new. The problem with these games is they're coming with, like, tons of add-ons. It's plastic instruments and all this other stuff that you need, and that makes it much more difficult to swallow as a consumer, because it's more expensive because of it, and you have, like, shit cluttering your living room because of it as well.
I was seriously considering buying Rock Band, and I was like, well, one, I mean, I can play the guitar and do all that stuff, but I just want the drums. Drums are like if I can play that every time, I'll play them every time. And when they were releasing it, you couldn't get the drums unless you got the big kit.
Right.
And I also was like, well, I need a console because I can't buy it for, my freaking computer or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, Xbox One, cool, that's several $100s. Rock Band's, like, big box pack is like $300 or $400. I was like, all in, I'm just shy of $1,000 for this. I mean, yeah, I could buy.
Get a Vive at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, I can't justify this, right now, like. Just all like you said, the guitars and all that shit is just too expensive, and they keep coming out with new ones every time, or they break and all that stuff. It's just like, It was great when it first came out, and we didn't really know any better in terms of like how much of a cash cow.
I don't like
this
phrasing
was.
it like we didn't know any better,
Well,
like
not
they pulled the
know
rug
any
out
better,
under
but, like,
us or something.
I just never thought like, okay, I'm gonna go through like 20 guitars or whatever. These things are gonna break on me. It's just like, oh, this is cool, whatever. Yeah, sure, $80 for a plastic guitar, but I'm gonna play this for hundreds of hours. It's worth it. And then you know, 2 months later, you know, somebody spills beer on it or pukes on it or you step on it, whatever.
Not
And
even.
then you
They
gotta-
just break of their own accord.
They just
I went through
decide to, right? Yeah.
3 guitars for no reason, just because they're badly made.
And the drums especially, right? They were the most expensive thing, and they were the most, the biggest cause of concern for durability. Like, they would crack and stuff and
Right.
lose their sensitivity over time and things like that. So it's just like, you know, it's fun, but at a certain point, it's just like, I can't justify
money
seeking.
sink, yeah.
Was I the
Yeah.
only one that invested in that? You guys remember that Ion kit? Yeah,
I do,
Mhm.
yeah.
I spent like, what was that, $300 probably on that thing. That
I
was
remember it being
insane.
like $350. It was way up there. Not a lot of people pre-ordered those at GameStop, and I remember pitching them a lot to people, and they were like, "That's like insane. What is it? I could buy like another game console for that much."
It was a
Yeah,
great
that's
kit,
crazy.
by the way. I want to say
Yeah.
that first of all. Like, it was awesome. I
And
totally
you
recommend
could use it as an e-drum set, right? It was just a legit like MIDI trigger e-drum,
Yeah,
which is good if you want that.
absolutely.
Nick, did you ever at GameStop get to take a Guitar Hero out back and smash it?
Yeah, no, I did a double-handed
Yeah.
field
My-
destroy on 2 guitars at once, slam them in the ground.
Oh,
and
Yeah,
my
find
God.
out.
you got to live out my rock band dreams right there. Like me and my district manager, we had to take out we used to have this box of things we weren't allowed to resell or send effective, and it was a perfectly fine guitar, but we had to break it so that nobody would steal it. I can't remember the reason, it was dumb, but
They don't steal that as
No,
a trash
thanks.
compactor.
yeah, so they don't steal it at the trash compactor. It's stupid. So
They
we
were
take this.
generally broken, but not completely broken. So it would be like the wire's a little frayed, or like one of the buttons sticks, and then it got returned. So then we had to destroy them so no one would steal them.
God forbid
Sorry, go ahead.
anybody salvage them for
Guitar.
parts.
And just smash it into the ground and just destroy it, and you've got to
I
feel
felt
like
way worse about field destroying the player's guides, though. Like any of
Oh,
that
yeah.
stuff, we had to rip them up so people wouldn't take them out of the
Oh,
trash.
God.
They're perfectly good. They were completely fine.
I'm not gonna lie, I definitely took some of those home.
Why
Like,
are,
was
I
whatever.
mean, you don't work there now, so it doesn't.
And it's
really-
been over 10 years, whatever.
why are
you're
companies
supposed to
so
take the penny
goddamn
out.
adamant about their trash not being thieved? Just
Like food, man.
Yeah.
That's a global issue.
fucking
like,
donut
these
shops,
donuts.
yeah, are the worst, man. They're
Yo,
tough.
Grocery
Like,
I will stand bat for Cheesecake Factory. At the end of every day, we took all the leftover food and we donated it every single
good,
day.
that's great.
Cheesecake
To
To
be
the
fair,
1%.
It was a bit of a risk.
Yeah, took it to
When it came
fucking
to
Donald
certain-
Trump's door, didn't you?
When it came to certain things, it was a bit of a risk because there were people who made a pretty regular habit of trading in stolen items. So they would really want to protect that against people stealing stuff out of the trash and then trying to sell it to us, which I'm sure people would have done if they knew that was a thing they could do.
Yeah. Well, now
not
they
that
do.
it defends it. No, it doesn't defend it. It's just like that's probably what their thinking process was. Although it doesn't explain the guides because no one's reselling those. We wouldn't even take them anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Just
So
like
let me be clear. The stuff that I took home was guides, by the way. That's what I meant. Like I took some of the guides home because some of them were really nice, and I
And
enjoyed.
money.
And just straight cash
Right
out of the
out of the
drawer,
register,
baby.
yep.
Right out.
That's why you
I did
work
one
at
of those-
I took that
GameStop.
shit home and I eBayed it. That's what I did.
It's like a 500-page Pokédex guide that was got pennied out, and it was just like, all right, these are huge
Ow.
and really heavy.
pennied out.
Well, there is another part of this that I don't know how deep down this rabbit hole we want to go, but I thought it was worth mentioning as well. The fact that with Fig, I know we've touched on this before, but Fig is just sort of becoming a little bit more sketchy the more I look into it. First of all,
so?
it's interesting to note that of the $800,000 raised here on this Fig campaign, $592,000 of it came from investments. So only $200,000 was actually pledged toward this fundraising campaign. The rest of it was invested probably mostly from smaller increments. Well, yeah, actually, I imagine we can look at this 1,674 backers stat and probably get a good average amount of the amount of investment, or yeah, the investment amount people were contributing to this. But, well, okay, so Ryan briefly went over the fact that this investment is actually really not that good of a deal, first of all. For every game that they've put up on this platform thus far that I've seen, the investment, the break-even point for your investment is so high that it almost isn't even worth it. The return is decent after you reach a certain point, but that point ends up being, 1.5 million or 2 million copies, which is kind of an outlandish number for something that's being crowdfunded. So that's worth considering, first of all. But second of all, there is... Okay, so let's take a step back to analyze this. A lot of time in this new media wave, we start to see people with a lot of influence trying to create, like the new Twitter or the new Facebook, but apply that to whatever different delivery system or distribution system that you have, or, for example, a crowdfunding platform like this. A lot of rich people are trying to create those new things to get them going from the ground up just because, it's not a bad idea. I'm not saying this like it's bad business, but I'm just saying like that's kind of what's happening right now. Another good example is if you're into rap music at all, you probably saw Kanye West try to launch Tidal, the streaming service that I believe Jay-Z has like an ownership claim in.
And Jack White.
Sorry, what?
And Jack White.
Oh, really? Oh, there you go. He tried to essentially get Tidal off the ground by making his new album exclusively available on that platform. So I see this happening, a lot of people that hold a lot of influence really just trying to build things from the start. And Fig is kind of our crowdfunding gamers version of that. Tim Schafer, I know, has a heavy hand in this, but it turns out that actually, I don't want to say exactly who it is, but a senior member of Harmonix is on the board for Fig as well. So there's obviously some cross-play going on there, some cross-pollination between the businesses, and it's not inherently a bad thing. But I'm curious whether or not that sort of like taints this whole platform for you guys, or if you feel that it's not necessarily that noteworthy.
It's a little conflict of interest-y. Ish. I don't know.
No.
I don't.
No, maybe not. Maybe it's just me.
Well, I don't know. To me, it doesn't like Harmonix, especially like in their the peak of their games and stuff when they were selling like hotcakes. Bigger name, right? But if I know that Harmonix has a dude on the board, of course they're going to try and use it. It doesn't speak to like Fig being a really good like platform to do this on or whatever. It's just like this guy obviously has a vested interest in it, and he's up there on Harmonix, so like of course you can be like, yeah, we're gonna like do this crowdfunding thing, and like if it does well, shit, I'm rich, the game is rich, like it's awesome, and it's gonna promote Fig to all these other developers and stuff like that getting the game on. So, but again, knowing that, I'm not. Of course, it's like you got a kid and he's playing soccer. He might be the shittiest kid, but you still want him to be like playing on the field, right? Kind of thing. This guy's just like, Fig is an okay platform. Maybe it's not the best, but like.
But it's his baby.
But it's his baby, and he wants his kid in the game. I
don't know if they approach it with that mentality when they're dealing with like hundreds of thousands of dollars. But also worth mentioning, to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars, is that with Kickstarter, of course, Kickstarter would be taking off like a 10% cut right off the top of 1.5 million. So you got to consider the fact that that's probably one of the major reasons they went with Fig. Which again makes sense.
What about like what does Indiegogo take? Because Indiegogo is another big one that I've seen like games developers use that successfully use.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how much that takes, because there are alternatives to Kickstarter that work. Fig just has, like you said, it has that the board members of other game like Tim Schafer's on it as well, I believe. Like he's a proponent of it, which we'll only see probably his games get funded rather through Fig from now on. Which his games can be a little dubious when it comes to whether they're going to live up to promises or not. Not Peter Molyneux wise, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
Sorry, I forgot you have a wound about Peter Molyneux every time I mention. It's like pouring salt on it.
It's like that Harry
How's
Potter
God of
scar
Wars
is starting to
going?
burn. Oh my
200
god.
hours of that yet? 200 hours of God of Wars? No, not yet. All right.
No, I think I'm maybe low double digits. Low, very low.
Yeah, so people are asking what makes Fig unique, and it really is the whole investor side of it, right? It is the idea that you can be like a proper investor and maybe make your money back if you have enough money to invest in it properly. Because didn't you do something on Fig, Baer? Didn't you do an investing thing?
I was thinking about it, and I'm glad I didn't ultimately. By the way, I just pulled up the list of Fig's, basically their board of advisors, it looks like. And it's Alex Rigopoulos is the co-founder and chief creative officer of Harmonix, and he's the one that's on the board.
Okay.
So, yeah, like when Psychonauts 2's Fig campaign was announced, I bit pretty hard hook, line, and sinker on the whole investment idea. I thought it would be a pretty good opportunity, actually. I was looking at it and I thought, yeah, this is an established studio and this is a well-known name and they sold pretty well. So yeah, this looks like it could be worthwhile. But of course, the more you look into it, the more you realize that, as I explained earlier, the return that you get is dependent upon the game performing extraordinarily well. Like, just sort of almost beyond a reasonable suspicion of how well the game would do. And that ultimately turned me off. But also just the fact that if you... So, yeah, let's just break it down to brass tacks here. If you invest $500 in this crowdfunding platform, then you have to... or the game has to sell, I think, like just under 1 million copies to break even on that $500. And just from a basic economic standpoint, that is just, there's so many more ways, or there's so many more better ways to spend $500 with that being the consideration. So that's ultimately the conclusion I drew from it in my own personal experience. I mean, and if anybody looks at it objectively, it's pretty easy to see that this is not necessarily where you should go if your first instinct is, I want to make some money, right? I think Fig needs to be... So
what's the point then?
Well, it needs to be looked at as a hybrid between I want to make a little cash and I want to support this project. And that, I mean, that idea is just... It's difficult.
Murky.
Yeah, it's murky. That's a really good word to describe it. It's difficult to really separate those two things in your head because when you put... Like, say you put $1,000 into Psychonauts 2 as an investment. I don't think... As someone in my position, I'm not putting $1,000 in that and really being okay with the game having been made and maybe making like a little bit of money if I'm lucky on the side as a result. If I'm looking at that from a financial standpoint, I'm not really happy with that. But if I'm looking at that from the combined standpoint of I really love Psychonauts and I love Double Fine and I want this to happen and I can maybe make a little bit of money, then that's who they're targeting, more or less.
Who they're targeting is sort of an impossible thing. You're either targeting investors who don't have a lot of investor sense or game players who don't have any sense in investment. Like, both of those don't really work right.
And you're kind of maybe addressing the problem, yeah.
At least with something like Indiegogo. At least with something with like Indiegogo and Kickstarter, it's pretty straight up. You're donating essentially, funding money without any expectation of getting money back. You're just going to get the game and some neat rewards on the side, and that's it. And people are totally fine with that. Once you bring in the idea of like, well, maybe you'll make your money back, then it gets a little like wishy-washy. And if you start doing the math, like you said, you know, with Psychonauts, you need to sell a little under 1 million copies. I would be surprised if that game sells that many copies in the first year or two. But it's definitely a little more murky, like you said. And what were you going to say, Fox?
I was just going to say, with Kickstarter, you might get your game.
Oh, yeah, that's important to know, too. Mm-hmm.
That's also very true.
Well, with Fig, we really don't have a comparison to make there, though, unfortunately, because it's so new. Nothing's actually, come to fruition from Fig yet, so we don't have to, or we can't make a fair comparison there, I should say.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the names that have been on here up to this point, I don't think they're just going to get away with, not doing it. Psychonauts 2 actually ended up raising a little less than $4 million. And, Double Fine's going to make Psychonauts too, so we're looking good there. But
that's the thing. Like, I trust Double Fine to make the game. I just don't trust them to manage their resources properly.
Mm-hmm.
But they're gonna. It's unlike like Peter Molyneux. Like the game is gonna come out. I mean, the Broken Age came out, and it was, from what I understand, good, and it did what it promised to do.
I really like Broken Age actually.
Everybody's hung up on Double Fine's like one major fuck up, space-based DF9, which was a really cool idea, but they just fucked it and never really fully released it.
I thought people hated Broken Age. I thought the second episode was really bad or something.
I think
was it?
The second episode might not have been as good, but the first episode I really enjoyed.
I'm gonna go look up reviews for it.
I didn't
continue.
play it. I did watch a little bit of it, and it looked okay, but I just heard it all fell apart to the second act.
Could be. I didn't ever play through it.
Yeah, I don't understand the point of this stuff. Like, it's not our job.
That's a 73 on Metacritic.
That's not bad.
The episode 2.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's not really our job as people who are games enthusiasts to worry about the investment side of things, so I don't really get where the crossover lands.
Fig is like, it's a reactionary effort. I mean, there were a lot of people on Kickstarter who were just like, you know, I'm putting up money so early in the development, I'm believing in you guys, like I should get, you know, if the game is successful, I should get a cut back. And there was like a large amount of people that were going on about that. So I think maybe they thought, you know, if you build it, they will come kind of thing with Fig, you know. Seems like a lot of people are for it, man. So like we just gotta, you know, put in some cash to make the platform, and then like, so, but like, what's the minimum buy-in for a game on Fig?
$500.
$500
for investor.
What?
For just investor?
Yeah,
like
to invest. It's a minimum of $500 to invest in the project.
That's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I think it's like, and I understand you know, like how would you do it at like $100 or even less? Like a lot of people can't really afford $500.
Yeah.
So and that might be.
Like, they already had to go through, I imagine, a mountain of legal loopholes to actually be able to allow people to do that in the first place, because there's a lot of systems in place, at least in America, in order to make sure that not just anyone can just invest money into a company, which I can't even honestly tell you why there's a bunch of restrictions on that. It seems like that's just sort of a let adults make adult decisions sort of thing. But to be an accredited investor, you have to have like an income of over $200,000 for over 2 years that you can prove, just to become accredited to be able to actually invest your money in the like in the most legally applicable context, I suppose, possible. But with this, of course, they had to circumvent a whole bunch of that in order to be able to allow thousands of people to donate a small amount of money. So I think they might have. This is entirely just speculation, but it might have been spawned by maybe a discovery that they could do that. Like that very well could have been an integral part of the inception of this sort of model for business, is that, oh, wait a minute, we can kind of dance around the law here and allow a bunch of people to make smaller contributions. And that obviously wouldn't be enough for them to be like, let's make Fig out of this, but it certainly would drive them, I think, in this sort of direction.
Funny how frequently this seems to be coming up, isn't it, with things like Uber, where it seems like they exploit this gray market idea of, well, you're not normally allowed to sort of employ faux taxi drivers, but because we made an app and they're doing it not as our employees, but as, you know, free contractors, apparently that's okay. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it's like, this isn't a thing that existed until they said it was okay.
Right.
They didn't even say it was okay. They're testing it and seeing if they get sued, essentially.
Yeah.
And that seems to be where a lot of concepts seem to get proven now. It's okay until we sue someone, and then it's not okay.
Hey, it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission, right?
Yeah.
I dig Uber though. Like, there's a lot of people. Like, I took an Uber a couple weekends ago. Like, in Toronto, I don't usually have to take a taxi or whatever, and I have a car too. But anyways, the guy was
just
like
bragging
well
over
off.
here, Mr. Fox. I have a car and I get to use Uber in Toronto.
It's 20-year-old car. Let's and the guy's like, you know, he had a job. He's like an engineer during the weeks and stuff like that. He's just like, dude, I just like, it's fun. I make pretty decent money. I get to like meet all sorts of people, and he's like, I take Ubers and stuff when I'm going out partying and all that. So like, kind of give back. So like, Uber to me is just a great product, and we're holding on to this like archaic, you know, overpriced, at least in Toronto, taxi bullshit where like taxi drivers are like,
taxis are the oil of the transportation industry.
Yeah, that's gonna set it better. And you know, I don't have anything against taxi drivers in general, but like also in general, they seem to not want to change the industry at all with like the changing times and stuff, and that's what frustrates a lot of people.
Yeah, they're leveraging the internet to try and sort of bring about some kind of competition. And for anybody that thinks I was just being negative on Uber, I am also aware of the fact that our jobs exist in this exact same gray market that I'm talking about. So
we are the gray market, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're existing until we're proven not to be allowed to do what we're doing, and we still are allowed.
One of these days, somebody's going to come by and be like, wait a minute, what the fuck are you guys doing for money? Hold on.
No, none of this is allowed. You tried to get taxes passed off? Like, no, you're all fired. No.
You're all fired. Somebody's got to come by and just fucking fire our asses one day.
Roundtable's going to get fired, guys.
Yeah. Funny story. When I was moving from Saskatchewan back to Toronto, and I was getting an apartment, I had to get...
oh, he's got an apartment now, this motherfucker.
Yeah, I'm high in the sky, man. And so I had to get home insurance and stuff like that. And so I was talking to the guy, and he's saying, you know, what kind of stuff do you have or whatever? And I mentioned, like, this is when I had just recently put together, or like my computer back there, which, you know, at the time was worth a few $1,000s. And the guy's like, what do you use that for? And I mentioned, I was like, oh, you know, I make some videos and stuff like that or whatever, you know, and I put them on YouTube. He's like, oh, wow, that's interesting. He's like, do you make any money from that? And I was like, you know, not that, you know, I disclosed like I was making a few bucks a month kind of thing. But he's like, oh, I can't sell insurance to you. I was like, why not? He's like, you can't. Yeah, he's like, you can't. That's like, you're making income out of your home. It's a residential thing. You've got to be like, get it as a commercial space.
Oh my
God. Yeah, he's like, you disclose that to me. I can't sell insurance to you. So I had to like call another dude.
I want to fight the entire world because I can't handle how many fucking stupid arbitrary barriers get put up for us. Because people just haven't adapted to this.
Maybe a PSA to other people, you know. If you make videos and you make like 10 cents off them, don't disclose it to your insurance because they won't give you insurance.
That's some bullshit that he pulled on you to get you to like admit to that, though. Yeah, like, if you're a cop, you got to tell me, man. Come on.
He's like, if I ask, you got to tell me you're a cop, right? That's long. Anyways,
I do not understand this concept. They had PewDiePie on some morning show, and the women that were interviewing him were like, "So you like make money doing this?" Come on, girl. Did you not do like 1 second of research?
People know PewDiePie. He's not even a gamer anymore for a lot of people.
He makes more money than the entire TV network that hosted him. Idiots.
It's so funny.
When is this going to change, guys? When are we going to come around to understanding the concept of new media?
We all get the question. We've all gotten the question multiple times. How do you make money doing that?
Yeah, how does TV make money?
That's what I say. I'm like, do you watch? I'm like, do you watch TV? Yeah. I'm like, same thing. Commercials. That's exactly how we make money.
Wait, but you're an individual, not a corporation. Wait a minute. That doesn't add up. But some of you are corporations and others are not. I can't process all of this.
Corporations are people too.
I like to throw these guys for a loop and be like, well, technically I work for Disney. Then they get all confused.
That's when they get fucked up, right? That was my go-to. I'm a content producer for a major Google subsidiary. Yeah, that just shuts them right up.
If you're following the paper trail, you're not, though. You're just a freelancer that happens to contract under them.
I mean, if they ask a single follow-up question, I'm fucked at that point. But I'm just hoping to stun them into silence with that maneuver.
I'm so angry about that dude not selling Fox insurance. That's so stupid.
It's dumb because it's an old mentality that just needs to go away as we all, technology catches up with the rest of us.
He was like, gotcha.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like.
I mean, I don't know. The dude was just. I mean, it seemed pretty like in their policy or whatever. Like, I honestly don't. When I was talking to the guy, like, he genuinely seemed like interested. Like, we actually had a long conversation about all this stuff, and so I don't know. I think I just walked into it
from you first.
Like, I should have just been like, I have a fucking expensive computer.
Yeah, and now you know.
You don't need to know what I do with it,
Yeah.
you know, like...
Well, don't
that's-
tell him he doesn't need to know what you do with it, because he just absolutely assumes, like, fucking deep net terrorist vendor
Oh
at
man,
that point.
he could play Quake 3 all night.
I mine bitcoins, although I'm sure if I said that, and that were actually
that
true...
counts as income, right? Yeah.
Yeah, apparently, you know.
Look at man, you're an enthusiast gamer. That's all simple, done.
Yeah.
That's allowed, right? You can be an enthusiast gamer and not have to like pay taxes on that.
Well,
How are you
no.
talking about, man? I
Apparently
only got
not.
an expensive computer when I started making money out of my bedroom and confusing people.
Every
For
time
fuck's sake, though, taxes. Oh.
Every time we do this, I feel like we have to add the caveat that, yes, we are aware that there are a tremendous amount of benefits to what we do. But, like, pardon us the moment here every now and again where when we're interviewing for apartments, we have to explain for 25 minutes
Yeah, they just don't
what
get it.
goes on with, like, the process of recording to uploading to making
Yeah.
money. A lot of
It,
which
like,
we
sets
don't
off-
understand ourselves, unfortunately.
It seems to set off red flags for people when they're in any position to question whether you're credible or not. And I
Yeah.
don't understand how that process turns the gears in their head for that flag to come up. That's what kind of frustrates me about the whole thing. I don't know what we're doing about this job that makes it confusing for people why we're not legitimate people doing a job.
I mean, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like most people that are, like, skeptical about it, they think I'm making it up. Like, they think I'm pulling the wool over their eyes here. Like, no, it's real. This, like, a lot. It's not just me. There's other people that do it. I can show you
Right.
them. I can show you a Social Blade approximation of their earnings between $1 and $1 million. Like, that.
Yeah, that's
pretty
the other
real.
thing. You can show people proof that you're making money, and that's like as far as like renting an apartment or something. That's all they should need.
Yeah,
if
it's
you can
like,
supply
look.
them the money, and then they go, well, like the money's not good enough. I need to know you have stable income. It's like, what? How do I prove that then?
I
I can
can't.
show you the money, and it's not good enough. They
Yeah.
think it's like a front for some kind of illegal drug trade or something.
I've never, yeah, like I never had those issues. Like for every job I had before that, and I was applying for housing, it was just like, oh, you work. There we go. We're good. Oh, you work at this plant named Plant X, and you are a laborer, is what you've said here. That checks out.
Well, that's the system we set up since the 1950s, right? That we get our insurance through our job, and our job is through a corporation, and that's it.
Yeah.
Anything beyond that is impossible for people to conceive of. Imagine being an artist in the world. How do people do it?
I
don't
do
understand.
God.
You make money by painting? What does
Yeah.
that even mean?
I'm holding out for my Mona Lisa moment. I mean,
All right, we won't talk about this anymore.
I got very passionate there. I'm sorry if that was over the top.
It's perfectly understandable in my eyes. Oh man, let me talk. Okay, we're gonna completely turn on a dime here to something entirely different.
Do it.
So last week we had a pretty in-depth conversation, pretty awesome conversation in my opinion, about mobile games, the top grossing mobile games of the past year or so, and it got me curious. It got me wondering, what's the appeal? Why do people like these games so much? What's going on here? So I downloaded some. I downloaded Clash of Clans to start with. Has anybody played Clash of Clans, by the way, on their mobile devices?
Oh, I've seen the ads hundreds of times.
I have people I know that are like legitimately addicted to it.
Oh no!
Like, yeah, like will go to people's places to hang out and stuff, but they're still like,
oh, they're still on the
playing
phone, yeah,
on their
yeah.
phone and stuff like that, and it's like 5 minutes away from it. It's like shit, my clan needs me, or however the game works,
Right.
and ooh.
It's a problem with a lot of people. But so I downloaded Clash of Clans, and I'll be honest, I had a pretty toxic attitude going into it. I didn't want to like it, right? I got into this and I was thinking, these motherfuckers, they're not gonna dupe me out of my money. No, I'm too smart.
I'm
for
too
this
strong.
shit. Yeah, and I know what's going on here. You can't fool me. So I started playing. The cash grab parts of Clash of Clans are pretty immediately apparent, and I saw the scummery very quickly, and I was like, no, yeah, I got you. You're not gonna do this to me. It's a lot of the really basic stuff, you know, like the one of the cruxes to microtransactions and free to play, I think, especially on mobile, is just the matter of making people wait. So like a lot of your stuff is behind a time barrier. So for example, you have to wait for like literally 12 hours of real time until construction completes on a building, or you're upgrading one of your barracks, or you're upgrading a unit or something like that. Most things take a long time to do, and like a literal long time, sometimes even up to a day to complete. And Fox, go ahead.
I was gonna say, sorry, I tried that Simpsons game a couple summers ago, and it takes 90 days to grow some plants in Cletus's.
What?
90 real days. Like,
Jesus.
you can pick different stuff that grows in like minutes or hours or a few days, but the one, it's like 90 days.
So fucking ridiculous.
3 months of your life waiting for plants to freaking grow. I could go grow real corn in that time.
That was literally going to say you can grow the actual crop before that happens.
Fox, your dream goal in video games and digital media is to find a game where a tree will grow in real time, and this is a problem for you?
Well, but this wasn't.
It wasn't made by Peter Molyneux, so he's just not.
It's not a tree game. I just want trees. This was like you got to advance your Simpsons.
It's not a tree game.
Simpsons community and all this shit, and you got to make money off of this so you can buy other things or whatever. That's different.
It's fine. I'm not really trying to give you a gotcha moment.
No,
I thought it was a funny kind of thing
denial,
to notice
man.
between the two concepts.
I'm still waiting on my tree game, man.
So Clash of Clans is okay. So it's actually kind of fun, though. With all that being said, Clash of Clans is an interesting and sort of appealing game, but it's behind so many time barriers and so many obvious microtransaction-y gimmicks that it's really difficult for me to get into. But there is some strategic merit to it. So it's an over-the-top little strategy game where you take your units that you've accumulated in your base, and you're building barracks and stuff in different unit training areas, and over time you're trying to accumulate more units, and then you go launch an attack on like a goblin fortress. And you choose where you put down your units. Different units have different abilities. They react differently to like traps or defenses that the enemy has set up. So it's pretty interesting. You know, it's a pretty basic strategic game on the phone that I thought it was meh. You know, like, okay, I get this. I can see why people are spending money on it. But overall, I wasn't going to go back to it that often. Then I downloaded another one by the same company. Supercell is actually the company that makes a lot of these mobile games. And they have a second game in the Clash series, I guess, called Clash Royale. Clash Royale is a really good game.
Yes, I agree.
I'm being like totally serious. I really like Clash Royale. It's super fun. So let me pull up a video real quick here so you guys can get the gist of what's going on. First of all, like real quick, I want to note something I love about this game. I can have my phone in my pocket and literally in 5 seconds of real time be like playing a game in Clash Royale. From pocket to game is less than 5 seconds of actual time. So I love that. That's always been something that I guess has, in sort of a subconscious way, made me like games a lot more. Is just like, you know, the amount of time that I actually have to spend to start playing it.
Psychologically, they have to reduce any friction or barrier to entry that stops people from being able to get immediately into the game to potentially spend money. Mm-hmm. I can give you, by the way, the psychological reason for anything that you list as a positive coming up, so feel free to go ahead.
Don't fucking do that, come on. There's real merit here, I promise you. This is actually
and there's real psychological engineering behind these thoughts.
No, it's... I just like it. Just let me like it. So,
it's fine. I'll be quiet if you want. Go ahead.
No, it's good. So, Clash Royale. Let's get the gist of the game here. So it's a card collecting brawler, pretty much.
Tower defense.
Yeah, a little bit of tower defense involved. I think Clash of Clans is actually, I think, more tower defense-y than Clash Royale is. But anyway, with Clash Royale, you build decks of 8 cards, and while you're playing the game, you can only have 4 cards in your hand at any given time. It also has this sort of Hearthstone-y element where you accrue up to 10 elixir on the bottom bar during combat. And elixir will continually trickle in and accrue over the course of the game, and you use that elixir in order to deploy the units. So some units cost 3 elixir, some cost 4, some cost 5, some cost as many as like 9 or 10. and I totally lost my train of thought. But the elixir is the unit's dispersal method, and the actual gameplay is dropping units into this portraits. Oh, right, yeah. So you can choose between portrait and landscape, by the way, but it's mostly played in the portrait view. You drop your little units into the field of battle and try to take down your opponent's towers and take down their main hub area. So there's only 2 towers and a big middle tower for each player. So 3 towers total for each player. And every time you take down a tower, you get a crown. So the most crowns at the end of the round wins. So that's the gist of it. But there's a good amount of strategy, legitimate strategy involved with this game, and it gets pretty deep too. There's a good selection of units. The units all interact with each other in different interesting ways. There's legitimate strategy at the higher levels. Like you've got to be really aware of the interactions between just about every unit in order to properly counter attacks from the enemy, in order to actually set things up to work more effectively. Like you got to be aware of the range of certain units. You got to be aware of what kind of units attack other kinds of units. So there's a lot of depth to it, which is really impressive. But
one of the reasons I really like it is because, yeah, you can pay money to unlock more cards and stuff, but the game is built around maintaining a balanced competitive scene-ish. So, like, if you're putting more money into the game and you're getting better cards, you'll stomp, like, your league for a little while, but you're quickly going to rise to the league where other players also have those cards.
Exactly.
And then you're going to be even with those people, where if you stay and do it the normal way, with like, I've not spent a dime in this game, you're going to constantly be progressing by beating people of your skill level with your cards, and slowly kind of getting better that way. So yeah, you can put money up and just immediately start stomping until you're of the level of those people with the same cards. But if you don't, you're going to be playing people of equal skill level anyway. There's not really a pay. It's like pay to win for a little while, basically, until you've rocketed up towards the rank at which other people have those cards. Which is why I like it. It's a casual game for actual gamers, basically.
Yeah, no, I agree with that assertion wholeheartedly. I think it is so well designed as far as that microtransaction element goes that I actually spent money on the game to say thank you to the developer for not trying to make it a cash grab. I intentionally went out of my way to be like, all right, you deserve $10 for not trying to extort me. Good job. I appreciate that. But Nick, please, now
psychology,
I will
man.
open
That's
the floor.
psychology.
Yeah, no, I'm sure that one is. I feel like that one might be.
I don't even want to anymore.
What?
I just feel like it's you're right. You can play whatever you want.
No. I do. I'm curious. Don't try to dissuade me, but I'm curious to hear like what sort of.
They sounds like they made a legitimate game for people that are into that sort of a gameplay, but I'm sure I'd have to like look at the UI to tell you what exactly they did to try and make it as simple as possible to spend money. And I haven't actually experienced it myself, and from your description, I'm not sure I'm getting as many bullet points as I needed.
Well, the game like when you open the game, it'll go to your deck, and you can like fiddle with your deck and stuff, and it'll show you like your free chest to open for the day and stuff. On the bottom there are 4 tabs. You start on the second tab. The first tab is where the microtransactions are. That's where you buy your gems or buy whatever.
Yeah, gotta be the first tab, first one you want to look at.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but it's not the one that it starts you on, which is what I find interesting. And then the third tab is like your guild, and then the fourth tab is like announcements for the day. It's pretty simple.
And
there are timers on chests. Yeah, I mean like certain chests take longer to open, and you can spend gems to pop open the chest immediately. But it always gives you 2 free chests every day, regardless. They're not the best chests. So you're going to get 2 free chests every day for whatever.
They shouldn't be the best chests because they want you to come back on a daily basis because it gives them more chances to get you into something that could cause you to eventually spend money. I mean, that's what a lot of those the time delay things are about.
Yeah,
Not only is it about setting an expectation for when you're going to return and then thinking about that time period passing, but also it's another opportunity to get you back into the thing and give you alerts along the way about things that could be happening. To pull you back in. So it's about.
I can tell you exactly how they get you to spend money, because this is how it goes. So you get 2 free chests every day. They're like the lowest tier chest, but it's 2 free of them every day. After you win 10 crowns, which is winning 10 games, or you get 10 crowns, which is usually winning like 3 or 4 games or so. You get a free golden chest that you just pop open instantly. And every time you win a game, you get a chest of random, basically like silver, gold, or higher, depending on where you rank currently. And each chest have different times. Like a silver chest takes 3 hours to open, a gold chest takes 8 hours to open, and then it goes higher and higher as you get better and better chests. You can only have 4 chests opening at any given time. And depending on how much time is left will determine how many gems you have to spend to open it instantly if that's what you choose. So that's where the money comes in, right? That's where they're trying to get you. They want you to buy gems so you can just constantly be opening so you can keep playing and playing games. For me, like, I don't play the game obsessively. Like, I'll play 2 or 3 games a day. I'll have my chest, and then I'll, like, go to bed, and I'll wake up, and I'll like, oh, 3 chests to open. Now I'm going to play my 3 games, and that's just what I'm going to do. But I can tell you immediately that's how they get you to spend money. It's timed opening unlocked chests that you can open instantly with gems. Every free chest you get gives you, like, a handful of gems, but it's not enough. Like, you need to buy gems if you want to constantly be opening all the chests immediately. But again, the reason I don't hate the game, and I understand that there is that mentality to constantly be spending money, but it's because I don't feel like I'm getting stomped in the game because I'm playing people of my skill level, so it doesn't bother me. And there's constant, like, I'm winning sometimes, I'm losing sometimes. It always feels like it's a close game.
I feel like I've got to reframe the argument again because people seem to mischaracterize what I'm saying about them. It's not that people don't have a right to make games however they want. They absolutely do. They can make mobile games for any reason. There are businesses that exist to make money, and I understand that, and I don't implicitly judge them for that. What I judge, if I judge anything, is the fact that these games are designed through use of psychological means to try and take money from people in every possible avenue that they can. This one might not be as bad as plenty of others that are out there. I haven't played it, and I'm not judging people who play them either. And if I were to play it, I would probably play it without spending any money on it. So that's an option. And I understand that's an option.
I think for every...
It's not like I'm saying it's the end of the world.
Yeah, no, I think for every mobile game like Clash Royale, there's probably about a dozen that are just basically extorting people, you know, like really just doing everything in their power to try to make you spend money. And that's what he's talking about. And I think Clash Royale is just a good example of not that, which is sort of what I alluded to earlier. Right. That's why I'm saying, like, I was willing to give them money because of how proud good job. Good boy, Supercell. You didn't try to weasel your way into my wallet. I appreciate that. You're cute.
I like passion projects. I like projects that are made because people have something to show you, not because it's just a way to get your money. Yeah. The idea is that you have that project come first, and then the money part is the secondary element. That is how you pay for your life. And that's what I prefer. I understand the world does not work to my whim, and I don't have expectations that it should. This is just my own perspective.
Oh, you don't? I
do. Espouse it. Well, it's unrealistic, man. It's not going to work.
I got to stick with it. One of these days, everybody's just going to do what I want to do. What? That was just a chuckle, man. You can talk.
Yeah, I was chuckling. I was laughing.
I recently got a new phone, and so, you know, with that comes all, like, you know, installing new apps or like old ones and stuff like that. And I was going through the App Store, and it's like I want a few, like, just a couple, like, kill time while I'm on the subway. You know, it's like almost a half hour each way to and from work. So I was like, you know, get a game I can just pick up pretty quickly, whatever. And then I remembered Threes. You know, it's like, this is a good game. I feel like it's like, you know, Sudoku or something, kind of get my brain working a little bit in the morning when I'm still waking up and stuff like that. And so I just downloaded the first one I got, which was like Threes free. I didn't even notice it at first because they give you, I don't know how many, it's like 9 or 10 tries or like games. And then when you run out, it's like, all right, you got to watch one 15-second ad, and then you get 3 more games. So, like, if you want, you could just watch like 10 15-second ads, and then, you know, you'll have 30 games for a little while or whatever. But after a while, it's like, no, I can't. It's like,
no more.
No, I gotta go. I can't wait 15 seconds. So I ended up, but like, I also really like the game. Like, it's you know, it's simple, but it's a good looking, well made product. So it's like, maybe I'll buy the full version. And it was like $3 or $4. So it's like, all right, that's fine. Like, but I mean, again, it was like playing definitely with the psychology of me. You know, I'm usually pretty like not buying into like in-app purchases and different things like that, or like I'll go for the free version and I'll just like deal with the little ad in the bottom or something like that. But this, I was just like, I can't do it. You know, and I guess maybe kudos to them. Like, they know like that's enough to get a lot of people just to pay $3 or $4 so they don't have to deal with that. So
Yeah, I mean, I think we probably reached this conclusion the last time we talked about this too, but I think for the most part it just boils down to whether or not people value their time more than they value their money.
Yep.
Mm.
And I think that for the most part is.
I think you're right.
we said our piece.
Yeah. But no, I do want to say though that I think my eyes have been open to the potential of mobile gaming. I had, as I mentioned, like just a really negative outlook on it from my entry point, and I just wanted to make note of the fact that there's actually some pretty awesome games that exist in the mobile space these days. And Clash Royale, I think, is chief among them in my eyes right now, and I'm still playing it. Like I'm just playing it for fun, and I really enjoy it.
It's a great poop game.
Yeah, perfect poop game, by the way. If you're like,
great.
the rounds actually last like 3 or 4 minutes max. So if you're looking for a poop game, this is it.
Get Ridiculous Fishing. That's just like a
Ridiculous
fantastic
Fishing
game.
is top notch.
It's great, and it's really good on mobile.
Good shit.
Okay,
Yeah.
quick.
That's some good shit right there.
Good shit. Good shit. 100.
100.
Before we dive off this, though, I do want to note the fact that I feel like there's maybe a tiny separation still in my head, although it shouldn't maybe exist anymore, between like major mobile releases and then just like sort of the rest of the pack as far as mobile games go. Like I look at, for example, a game like Hitman Go, which is from a company that is not known for mobile games, but it is a mobile game. Whereas Supercell are known for mobile games and they are putting out premier games, but there's also like a whole bunch of different companies that exclusively make mobile stuff. So I gotta do a little bit more research there as far as the differentiation between like AAA mobile and indie mobile. I'm sure there's a whole different subset.
There's companies that release games with the monetization schemes that you would expect from something like Steam.
Right.
Those games do exist, and they're out there, and I like those generally.
Yeah.
And I'm not against mobile games by any stretch. It's just the ones that, like I've said 100 times, they're designed to
mostly
suck money out of you.
stuff.
Yeah. I have no problem paying up front for a game, and in some ways I feel like a lot of mobile games are undervalued. I mean, buying something for $1 that costs thousands and thousands to produce doesn't seem like it would return for people, which then alienates them and says, well, maybe I should try this free-to-play model because it seems to be working for everyone else.
Yeah.
So I would have no problem paying $10 for Ridiculous Fishing because I've gotten enough out of that game that it's worth it to me.
Yeah, exactly. That's sort of the logic I applied to my $10 purchase for Clash Royale as well. I was like, I've gotten $10 of enjoyment out of that. That's no problem for me. So there you go. All right, that'll do. We can switch off there now. Let's
Move on. What we got?
Let's talk about Hyperlight Drifter a little bit more, shall we?
I got nothing.
So
for you.
no, Nick does. I know Nick does.
I know.
So Nick, I want to talk to you a lot about Hyperlight Drifter. So give me the rundown. How was your?
You heard enough out of me today. You should talk to Fox.
Yeah. Oh, Fox, you played Hyperlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've defeated a boss. I won't say which. If people, I've done some videos on YouTube. You can watch it there if you want to watch it. But,
what's your YouTube link, MichaelalFox?
YouTube.com/MichaelalFox.
Woo!
Easy
peasy lemon squeezy. And I know, Nick, you've been streaming it, right? You've been.
Yeah, I'll chime in. I just wanted to hear your opening thoughts on it, and I'll come in afterward.
Well, there's a period of my life where I was kickstarting a lot of games, and
I remember
Hyperlight Drifter was right around the same time as Darkest Dungeon, actually, and
good two choices.
Yeah, and I saw just like I was sold on the art style alone. Like the pixel art is, I honestly can't think of any pixel art that is better. And better, like animated, like the whole package, the art direction is
it's gorgeous.
Phenomenal.
Like we were saying in our Skype chat recently, this is a weird time for just beautiful games.
Yeah.
There's so many good-looking games coming out right now.
It's surreal. I don't even know how you make pixels look that good, but and it's got this weird, like, the thing I really love about it, it's got all these kind of bright, almost like neon fluorescent colors. And normally when you think that, you're like, oh, like gaudy, like neon signs blinding you, but it's just like very calming and like
sexy neon,
sexy, just like nice, and it puts you in this weird trancey kind of mood. So
it's like blacklight reactive colors almost.
Yeah, I don't know, but
I can neither confirm nor deny that, but yes, I agree.
I'm again, I haven't beat the game, but what I played thus far I like. It's not easy. It's you know, they've because I'm on the Kickstarter, I've been getting some update emails and stuff like that. And initially there was a little backlash, apparently, with some people thinking that the game was too difficult. But I mean, they said, you know, they're willing to take in feedback and stuff, but it was definitely not intended just to be like something you just breeze through. So I kind of like that. A lot of people are likening it to kind of like a Zelda / Dark Souls mashup almost, because originally when they were making the game, they're like, this is the best parts of Zelda and Diablo. I'm still I don't really know where the Diablo part comes in. Maybe I need to
it's more Bloodborne than Diablo, in my opinion.
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe I haven't played enough to make that. But regardless, like, it's its own thing. Like, it's got a very unique thing. I love how there's no dialogue. The stories and stuff are told through pictures and kind of like...
It's very pretty.
Like, not just no dialogue, like no text whatsoever that I've seen.
No. There's like 10 prompts at the very beginning. There are,
Well, yeah.
That was one of the things I really liked about it so far, and what we talked about it on Tuesday a little bit, is what I really like about it and what I kind of don't like about it is it has that idea of Dark Souls-y in that it's trying to tell a story through the environment and through the world, but since there's really no dialogue, it's super vague, and I mean, Nick, you've beaten it, so maybe it gets better, but from where I am right now, I'm desperately trying to figure out the story, but I just don't get it yet.
Don't try. Don't try.
Yeah. Okay. Really? Okay. That's a shame. That's a shame.
See, I said this on Co-optional, but I feel like the game is still kind of cryptic for being cryptic's sake in a lot of circumstances. Yeah.
I don't think it's even a bad thing, honestly. I think actually the obtuse way that it's presented actually in a way plays up a lot of the ambiguity that was intentionally built in. Because I've heard that there's a parallel story to the developer having a struggle with heart disease.
Oh, really?
Which is actually a huge thing that I didn't know playing through the game until the very end.
That actually makes some
with their name being Heart Machine Games now, yeah. Huh.
Well, yeah, I can say, like, a lot of the, some of the delays and things like that have been happening, it's, directly because of, health issues and just, like, not having a ton of energy and stuff, and, like, but, like, they came out with a pretty great product, and it's, like, it's really interesting, like, how almost, like, greedy and impatient sometimes we can get, like, what's the big deal? Like, just come out with a game, whatever. Like, do the 20 more lines of coding, or, like, do these sprites and these animations.
20 lines of code and be done with it, for Christ's sake.
But, there's real people working on these games that have real life issues. Who knows what stuff they're going through. And, like, this is pretty serious issue, like, throughout the project. It wasn't just, like, a couple weeks or something. So,
I mean, the thing we can say definitely is one of the negatives of the game, and otherwise it's supposed to be amazing. Again, I'm not terribly far into it, but the 30 FPS lock does there's input delay and makes the combat a little bit finicky and not exactly as smooth as I would like it. But I guess apparently they're working on the 60 FPS version of the game, and it's coming out in a few months, which tells me I'm not touching the game until 60 FPS comes out. Like, that's when I'll go back to it, I think. I'm super happy to hear that they're doing that, though. I wish that it came out at launch, but I understand that they apparently started building it on 30 FPS, and like TB was saying, if you start doing that on that engine,
it's a game maker game.
Yeah, so that it means, like, if you're going to do 60 FPS, you have to overhaul a ton of code. But the fact that they're coming out with 60 FPS game in a version in a few months means I won't touch it until then.
So Fox actually called me out on the delay thing, and we'll get into that in a second. But I just wanted to give some of my quick thoughts on it now that I've just finished it, only an hour or so before the podcast. Overall, fantastic game. One of the most beautiful I've seen in ages. The cutscenes were some of the coolest things I've ever seen, and I have to qualify that that's to my own personal art aesthetic, which maybe not a lot of people agree with, because I really love fluorescent, bright neon, vivid colors, things that just really hit you in the face. And the macabre nature of it underlying that neon, it's like exactly the kind of thing I love.
It works
like,
so
I couldn't
well
have asked for a better art design.
Like,
and the audio accompanies it perfectly. The whole thing, the whole package of it, AV-wise, is just dead on.
Yeah, it is beautiful.
I couldn't have asked for a better presentation in any way.
It's a disaster piece, right? Is the soundtrack?
Yeah, I believe that's right. The nature of the game, the way it's laid out, is kind of, and I say this hesitantly because I don't mean for it to come across derogatory towards the person I'm comparing it to, but Titan Souls I kind of wish was a little bit more like this game, I was expecting there to be a bit more meat to the world as you walk around it, but it was mostly, I mean, it was just a boss rush game, and that's fine. They played up that strength, and I love that game for its own merits. But this sort of filled in the gap of where I think that left and what I wanted out of that. It's got the great boss fights in it, and it's also got a lot of world to see and explore, and it's incredibly cryptic and enigmatic, and it really makes you want to understand what the hell's going on. And the fact that it doesn't leave you with that much, it's up for interpretation. I think there's some strength to that as well. It also gives you a lot of reason to go back and explore a bit more afterward, which I appreciate. Pardon, my voice is dying. What's up, Fox?
I would like to read an excerpt from the Kickstarter update that we're talking about in terms of the 60 frames per second.
Please do.
It's by no means is it like a confirmed thing, like it's an open door thing, but basically, where does it start here? So there's a contentious debate about the frame rate these days. I think it comes down to a personal opinion and preference on many different games. As a gamer, I very much enjoy games at 60, of course, and feel that some games need to be at their best, modern shooters as prime example. I've never had much issue with games at 30, and in fact many of my favorites are locked at this rate. Bloodborne, Nuclear Throne, Souls games, many Zelda games, Mario 64, Undertale, etc.
Yeah.
Hyper Light Drifter plays as intended at 30 frames locked, and we feel confident, great about the end result. We realize you may not agree, and some refuse to play games at 30 these days. We have investigated the possibility of a 60 frame per second option. This is a huge endeavor and would take months, 3 at minimum, of labor to retool all the systems that are dependent on frame timing to make major optimizations to the game so it runs on all the same machines it does now.
Yeah.
This is no small task for us. So it's, again, like they intended it and they felt, I guess, it wasn't absolutely necessary for this type of game, but at least they're open to it. So
I hope it happens. I would argue that Bloodborne would be 100% better at 60 because of how fast-paced and action-packed that game is.
Yeah, I mean...
I actually could not finish Bloodborne. I'm a stickler for it, but like playing Dark Souls at 60, I can't play that game at 30. And Bloodborne's even more fast than Dark Souls is, and I was like, I just can't do it.
And it has a shitty camera bouncing all around, too, which makes it even harder to see what the hell's going on.
Just because some games are played as intended at 30 doesn't mean that they wouldn't be benefit at 60.
So to clarify what we were talking about regarding the delays, there's a dash that is basically the most intrinsic and important element to the fighting system in this game, and the fighting system is the most important element of the game. So this is a big part of the game. The dash is basically what's going to allow you to move in and out of combat quickly, be able to quickly hit something and jump away and then get a shot out, much like you would do in Bloodborne, actually. The problem, in my eyes, is that there's a small degree of frame timing necessary when you're going from one dash to another dash, and people were seeing that as being a problem with the frame rate, not necessarily that it was by design. Now, Fox says that it is by design, and I think I probably agree that it is by design based on the fact that they give you a move that allows you to chain your dodges, and you actually have to perfect that and get that timing right to be able to get a counter to go up, which they then reward you with something. So the thing that I was getting at when we were discussing this very briefly before the stream was, so the way the combat works, it's very important to get the dodging in, and that's part of the balancing, right? They want you to be able to have the spacing between your dodges and be able to keep a tempo in your mind as you're trying to do this, to be able to jump in and out and to make this all work. I think it's sort of not the right way to balance the combat, though, and I think Fox might disagree with me on this. I think it would be much better to not put a barrier in front of the player and let those frame timings happen whenever you hit the button, because it would feel like you're the badass, you're the powerful person in this situation, and it's then up to them to provide enough of an actual combat issue for you to overcome, rather than it's more about just remembering when I can hit or not hit the A button. What do you think?
I think, you could almost say, with the way they have it now, it almost makes it feel even more rewarding when you are successful, because with the combat timing, you really got to plan out, a few steps ahead. Your dash, first I'm going to shoot, this guy's almost dead, so I'm going to go and hit him. I don't have to worry about getting hit. I've got 2 seconds. Okay, I'm going to move over here, boom, boom, a couple more hits, because the way the ammunition works in the game, which for those unaware, you don't go and pick up ammo. You get ammo for getting kills and doing stuff like that. So it's very much back and forth between guns and your sword and stuff like that. So I think that's part of having that few seconds of vulnerability is to really make you think things a couple steps ahead. And it's like it's been hard for me. Again, I haven't sunk too many hours into it, but it's like it deviates just enough from how I would typically play games and stuff like that. Enter the Gungeon, right? We've been playing a fair bit of that, and you don't have that sort of instance. You roll in, you immediately roll.
There's a cooldown on your roll. I mean, it's like 1 second, but you can't roll ad infinitum. Well,
that's, I guess, but I don't know. It's definitely more prominent a feeling here for me, but again, I think, you know, it's as intended, and for sure some people don't like that. I mean, I don't think there's like a difficulty setting on this game or anything.
No.
And some people like games that have maybe more of that flow, not quite as challenging. Other people love like just the straight up be punished. So it's...
I feel like the majority of the difficulty came from me not intrinsically internalizing the timing for that dodge. If I was given the ability to dodge at will at any point as long as my stamina held out, I think I probably would have had almost no deaths in that game. Like, it would have been really solid. And I would have loved to be able to play that way. Because I felt like the combat was so close to brilliant, it was just, it kept faltering every time I would drop a dodge or feel like I missed an input, and then I'd get hit twice and die, because they don't give you hardly any health. And the system works like Bloodborne, where you get hit a couple of times and you've got to back off and basically stab yourself with a blood vial so you can restore your health again. And this was probably an actual direct reference to the game. The animation even looked like directly the way it looked in Bloodborne.
Well, yeah, I mean, you in the email I was going, Bloodborne was one of their favorite games, so it's I think definitely a reference to it.
And the game felt like a power fantasy for the most part. Like, you play as this ethereal ninja essentially. So why limit the player and say, like, you're sort of crippled in your ability to move, except, well, okay, from the beginning of the game, your character is sort of literally crippled. You're throwing bleeding the whole game. So, I mean, if you want to give a plot point reason for it, maybe that's all you need to say.
Right.
Which I didn't really think of until just now. Maybe the character physically can't dodge as fast as the other
you figured it out.
could.
Yeah, you talked yourself into the conclusion.
Come all the way around into a circle.
So I think I was a little too hard on Tuesday, honestly. I played a little bit more since then, and I like it quite a bit. I think for all the same reasons you guys have already mentioned, it's gorgeous, the soundtrack is great, the whole aesthetic is brilliant, I think, and I am liking the combat more the more I play it, but it does still have those caveats that you've already mentioned. I don't know now if it's me that's bad or if it's the game. That's the that's the thing I can't figure out here is like...
Well, I mean, like we were talking about on Tuesday, like it's just straight fact. Running at 30 frames per second means input delay is going to happen. And while certain games are fine at 30, like a turn-based RPG or something, 30 doesn't fucking matter. But for an action game where timing of an input is critical to dodging and running like perfectly, like Gungeon, for instance, 60 is going to make a more responsive combat system. That is just science and fact. That is just how it works. And to say that that's a lie and that 30 is fine, I mean, sure, maybe some people can play at 30, but for a timing-based action game, 60 would make it smoother and better.
Yeah.
I really think the whole argument, though, just hinges on whether or not that dash delay in the latency for the controls is intentional or not. If it is intentional, which I think it is, then it doesn't matter if it's 60 or 30.
If we take the sentence at face value of him saying the game is designed exactly as it's intended to work, then it's natural to assume, okay, so they meant for that delay to be there then.
And I believe they did because, again, there's a dash combo chain counter that you're supposed to master, which is to reinforce in your mind there's a tempo to your dashes. So I really do think it is intentional. Yeah. I just disagree necessarily that that's the most fun way that game should have been played.
Yeah, no, I'm sort of in that camp with you. Yeah, I feel like I can appreciate it that they wanted it to be like that. I just sort of am of the opinion that A, it probably would have been better at 60 FPS, and B, without that little delay, I feel like I might have enjoyed it more. But you know, that's our opinions on it, and it's certainly valid to say that. Well, that's not the game they made, so. There we go.
But
Which
as
is
it
why
is,
we don't like it as much
had
as we
a great
could
time.
have. Yeah, exactly. That's true too.
I'm talking like 8 out of 10 level. Like, I really did appreciate the game, and some of the bosses were fantastic. I didn't expect that it would go in the direction it did as far as the way that they laid it out, and I thought it was really cool. There's a lot of hidden stuff. I'm probably going to go back and search for some of that stuff and see what it is. In general, I was quite impressed with it.
Safe to say,
the negatives are coming across too
recommendation
hard.
from you, right?
Yeah, easy recommendation for sure.
$20 on
The value
Steam.
is great.
Mm-hmm.
Get it, do it.
Fox, agree?
Yes, absolutely. It's you know, it's kind of one of those games. I feel, you know, it's definitely got the nice actiony stuff like that, but it's also got a bit of that kind of surreal experience of like when you're playing The Witness and stuff like that. It kind of, I don't know, it's like weird for an action game to do that to me, but it like takes my mind somewhere else, which is, you know, definitely worth the $20. I think we need more games that are kind of willing to go in directions like this of, you know, not being quite so conventional. And there's nothing wrong with being conventional or whatever, and you shouldn't be different for the sake of being different. I think this just, they did a really good job of bringing something kind of referencing old school stuff and newer stuff and doing its own thing, and just like, it's a great package. So yeah, recommend.
Seems to also be another good example of Kickstarter success too. It looks like they
yes
purified their concept, and it's really impressive.
That was huge. I remember actually like backing it, and I was within the first like 2,000, I think, right? And I was like, oh, you know, that's pretty good. And then it was a 2,000 or 200. I can't remember. It was a very small number, but like over the next couple of days, it blew up. They made their goal was like, I think it was 25,000 or something, and they made 650.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Nuts.
It was just, it took off. Like, I wasn't exactly sure what it was. Just like kind of right timing with social media and stuff like that. But
I have to say, this is probably one of the best examples I could point to of Kickstarter success for games.
Oh, for sure. I think you're right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Real quick before I forget, I don't think I even included this in our initial docket, actually, but I do want to mention it. Hand of Fate 2 was announced this week, which was a little bit of a surprise. Don't you guys think? I'm
happy to hear it.
Yeah, me too.
I hope they make the combat better.
Yeah,
that's what I want. Like, everything about that game was super great except for the combat.
And guess what article I read today? The one that tells us that they aren't changing the combat at all. It's all the same combat in Hand of Fate 2.
All right, next article.
I hope they take the idea of that Batman-esque combat and like smooth it out, because there was definitely something off with it. It was too easy. It was awkward feeling. So if they're going to stick with that combat, please take all the criticisms you heard to heart and, like, make that shit good.
Yeah.
Because everything else about that game was fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And keep
make
the
that
dealer.
combat better. It's just inherently bland. That's just the way that combat feels.
Yeah, so...
And you have to put a ton of time into it, I guess. I don't know. Like, I don't want that combat. I wish they were getting rid of it. But if they're going to keep it...
So I was reading a little preview about Hand of Fate 2, basically just detailing what's different about the second game from the first. I was really hopeful, as we mentioned, that they would make some changes. Turns out they may have tried. It sounds like in-house they were trying to adjust it so it was more of a Dark Souls style of combat. But then it didn't, like feel like Hand of Fate, I guess, is what they determined. So they
bland.
Right, yeah. No, this combat isn't nearly boring enough. We need to take some of the excitement out of this.
Yo, we can't make it Dark Souls. Go back to Batman. God damn. We don't want to rip off a fantasy game. Let's rip off a superhero.
Oh
game.
yeah, certainly. I'm glad we got our priorities straight there. So yeah, they are still sticking with the Batman stuff, unfortunately, it sounds like, for the combat, but they are making what was good about the first game better, and they are keeping the dealer, which we all were really excited about as well, so there's that too.
He's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. Excited, looking forward to that. Also, just it's sort of interesting to note that that's not exactly the most likely scenario when you're an indie developer to make a direct sequel to your game. I mean, it doesn't really happen that often anymore, Like Hotline Miami 2 is a rare example, and things like the Banner Saga 2 are coming around. But just good for them. Good for them getting an actual IP launched apparently. So that's pretty awesome. And
I'm gonna take a look at Steam Spy. I'm very curious how much the first one sold.
Yeah, no, I am interested as well.
Hand of Fate.
Bland of Fate. Hey,
nice. Got him.
Oh shit.
That's too dark even for me, Fox.
Well, I'm
sands
just
of
reading
hate.
the comments.
about a little over 200,000 owners.
That's pretty good.
Not
That
bad.
is not bad. Yeah, for an indie release. Pretty good.
Not
Does
enough
Rocket
money.
League 2 come out, Bear?
Oh, you don't even want to
Rocket
know,
League
man.
is already Rocket League.
Tell
2.
you what, I have been trying to withhold the deluge of fucking Rocket League news for this guy right up here. I've
Rocket
got
League
plenty
2
of it.
locked at 30 frames a second, though.
Oh no!
That would be the worst.
Oh,
yeah,
that
you
would
want
be
you
ruined.
want to see. You want to see what 60 frames can do? Play Rocket League at 30 frames and tell me that's not a problem.
You want to see like one of the most beloved developers of the last year and a half get completely torn to fucking shreds. You take Rocket League and you put a 30 FPS lock on it. Oh, shit would
I just
hit
couldn't
the
bear
fan.
the thought. I couldn't bear the thought
Nice.
of us not talking about Rocket League for at least 1 minute.
Rocket League Hoops is coming, man. It's like a
There you
week
go.
down the road. I'm excited. Although there was a top post on the Rocket League subreddit the other day that was just like Psyonix unleashes plans for Rocket League baseball, and it was just a screenshot of one of the developers saying baseball sucks ass or something like that. So, I guess there's no Rocket League baseball coming either.
Have you guys ever played kick baseball before?
You
Like
mean
with the
kickball?
dodgeball?
Like
No,
soccer.
yeah, that's kickball. You just call it. You
No,
don't have to
no.
call it kick baseball. That's
baseball?
it's a whole
Kick
other
baseball.
syllable
So
in there you don't need.
The pitcher rolls like a dodgeball, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
You kick it and you run around the bases and shit.
Yeah,
It's
that's
so
kickball,
good.
man.
That's kickball.
No, we call it
No
kick
one calls
baseball.
it fucking kick baseball. That's
Yeah,
so
and
stupid.
I call soccer grass hockey.
That's actually kind of a nice name.
Wow, that's derogatory as hell, Mathas.
What? that's just insinuating that hockey is somehow less valuable than soccer. Excuse me? All sports are equal, Nick. How dare
Yeah, but
you?
baseball's not a sport. It's a
Oh,
pastime.
there you go. That's true. Yeah,
America's favorite pastime.
there's a difference there. All right, let's talk about Enter the Gungeon, guys. You want to do that?
Yeah, sure.
We were
Oh,
gonna-
it doesn't
No.
sound like you're that excited about it. Come on, you don't want to talk
It
about Enter the
sucks.
Gungeon? It sucks. Fox, why does Gungeon suck so much?
Because you're bad.
Sucks so much out of my life.
Oh, nice.
Got
You turned it
him.
around.
It was
Oh, yeah.
actually a positive review. You just didn't know yet.
Fox, tell me about Enter the Gungeon.
So it's a game, bullet
Oh,
hell.
thank you.
It's a game.
roguelike-y, Nuclear, if people like any of if you like Nuclear Throne or you like Binding of Isaac or you like even it's got elements of Spelunky in there, it's good. It's a really good mashup of these other games, and it's got a just fun gameplay. Like it's like one of those games like just one more run. It's not easy. I haven't beaten it yet. I'm gonna though tonight, guaranteed.
Tonight? Oh, shit. All right.
Yeah, but it's just like it's fun. There's I know some people might they say like because there's a lot of different guns and some of them kind of seem gimmicky and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's still interesting synergizing because the guns per se like they have synergies in like they don't stack on top of each other per se, but you can have a gun that's like it shoots electricity and stuff. You could have another gun that shoots snowballs and then they melt into puddles, and then you're like, oh shit, I can shoot the snowball at these guys, and then I can switch to my electrifying gun and it electrifies the puddle and all this stuff. So you get to like make all these synergies in your head, unlike Binding of Isaac where it's kind of like you pick up the items and they start to synergize together, right?
Right.
So it's kind of the game does a little more of the work for you. Here it's like it kind of makes you be a little creative in terms of like actively doing those synergies and stuff. So that's one of the things I really like about it. But it's just like it takes so many elements from all these other extremely addictive games. Like I don't know how many hundreds of hours a lot of people have put into Binding of Isaac and stuff like that. Just because they've got so many items and stuff like that, and this is no different, right? There's a couple hundred guns, there's like passive items, there's a ton of different enemies and stuff to fight, and woo!
I'm really enjoying right now just that early roguelike experience of just discovering the secrets and
Oh,
trying to
it's
figure out
so
what's going
nice,
on.
isn't it? When you just get
Yeah.
that new
Like, what
road
does
like
this
that has
do?
so much potential. Oh, you just sink your
Yeah.
teeth into it. It's so satisfying.
You unlock like a new person somewhere in like the dungeon, and like he's at the breach, and you're trying to figure out what he does and what you've unlocked and why. I like that aspect. Because in Isaac, we're all at that point where we know we've got Isaac down to such a T. We know what to do, how to manipulate the numbers and all that stuff.
We know the structure of the system, and I think what's exciting is that here there's a little bit up for interpretation that hasn't been completely ripped apart and analyzed and put back together again. It's got a little bit of a rogue legacy thing going in it, where there's actually NPCs you'll run into in various dungeons, and you need to get like the master key, or the cell key rather they call it, to open up that. Which is a random chance you might not get the cell key on that floor, and then you won't be able to save that NPC, and then they'll go back and show up on your breach, and then you can talk to them. And in fact, one of the major systems of the game is locked in one of those cells, which is the hegemony dollars, or credits, rather. There's a shop that adds new guns.
Hegemony, according to Ryan.
Hegemony, right. Ryan says hegemony. I say hegemony. I don't know which is right. Who cares?
Yeah, I go back and forth. I'm like, I don't know how to say this word.
Hegemona.
It just sounds like hegemony cricket, which is not a thing when I say it that way. So that's you find this character in the game, you unlock their cell, then they show up in the breach, and they now have a shop that you spend hegemony credits on, and those credits are earned by killing bosses, and those credits are spent to unlock new items and weapons to add to your weapon pool, which you can then find in chests throughout the game. So, sort of like Isaac, when you do things, you get rewarded with other things, and the scope of the game gets larger the more you play. And the hope is, in a very small, because this game is largely skill-oriented, in a small way you get a slight advantage moving forward the more times you play the game over and over again. But this game is extremely hard. I would say it is probably harder than Isaac. And I like that about it. I think it needs to be, because we're all such hardened roguelite players at this point. We need some challenges that can't be just easily overcome. If it was on par with Isaac difficulty, I probably would have finished it already, and I'm glad I haven't yet.
Isaac has the potential to, even on a bad run, carry you with the right items, even if you're playing poorly. Where Gungeon does not feel like it's going. You can have good guns, but the wrong dodge and just like poor reactions will get you killed. Isaac has items that will just win runs for you.
And yeah, this is a game where I found it's like so hugely important to getting like a good start. Like with Isaac, at least, like you could have a couple floors that are like really shitty or whatever, but then all of a sudden you get Polyphemus and you're like, heck yeah. In this, if you don't get like a halfway decent gun to like, one of the functions of the game for people to know is like when you beat a boss, if you don't take a single hit, you get like a health up. That's one of the few ways you're going to get health. I mean, there are items you can buy or find that increase your health, but it's it's pretty rare. So health is a huge thing, and having it early on is really big. So you need to get kind of like something halfway decent early on, or just be extremely good at dodging and stuff like that. So it's like I've had a couple runs where I didn't even get a gun. I couldn't even buy a gun. I found a couple chests, but they had, passive items and stuff like that. So you're starting with your starter gun, which, I mean, technically does damage, but it takes a while, and it's just like, it punishes you.
Test the skill.
Yeah, man. So, but it's still addictive in that way. You're like, well, okay, next run, though, then, like, I'm totally going to get this one gun that I really love, like, and I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Even after I do beat the game and get all the unlocks, it's just like a fun.
It feels good to play. The dodge roll feels fantastic. The way the game just generally feels is really good all around. And I have one metaphor, and I hate to put too much in terms of Isaac, but I feel like this does speak to it for people who know Isaac in and out. And the way the difficulty scales for me is as if you have to hit that second floor deal with the devil, or the snowballing effect is not going to happen. And what I mean is, you'll fight a boss, and if you take even like any damage on the floor, you're already going to be at such a disadvantage that you won't even have an option to kill the boss, because you're probably going to take 3 or 4 hits during that fight until you master it. So you need to start that snowball effect like immediately. And if you miss your chance, you're already kind of, your trajectory for the run is now kind of gone down the garbage hole. No, it's kind of how I see it. So, yeah, it's all about hitting that second floor deal with the devil, and then you can start your run officially. But until then, you're basically doomed for failure already.
That good old proverbial second floor devil deal that spans across the roguelike genre now.
Yeah.
Yep. Basically.
It's a moving target.
It's a great game, though. I mean, and I'm loving that aspect, too, where, like, any progress, no matter how incremental it is, feels incredible.
Yeah.
Like, I got to the 4th floor for the first time yesterday, and it was like, I feel like I won the game. I was like, I got to the 4th floor, thank God.
Yeah.
We have 4 FPS Mathis again for some reason.
What is
on
wrong
my
with your
side.
internet?
I don't
Why
know, man.
always?
Yeah, it's only you, too. I don't know why that is.
That's weird.
That's really goofy.
All right, woo! Freeze frame, freeze frame, freeze frame.
I just did it.
With Gungeon, I'm sure I can guarantee we're going to talk about Gungeon again probably next week, by the way. But with Gungeon, I do notice that a lot of the guns, their gimmick tends to wear off really fast for me. And, I mean, luckily you get to replace your guns pretty consistently through most of your runs. But I find that a lot of the time it's like, oh, hey, that's awesome. This is a fun little novelty thing. And then, like, 5 minutes later, I'm thinking, this gun sucks. I don't necessarily even want to pick this up ever again. I'm sort of disappointed, but
what I like about Gungeon though is that there's ways, like, shitty guns are shit, obviously, and you don't want to use them, but there's purposes and uses for them later where there are special items where you can actually throw away guns and get something in return.
Yeah.
So there's never like you pick up a shitty gun like the banana or whatever, and you're like, oh, this is garbage. Well.
Oh, don't diss on the banana, apparently.
All right, sorry. Well, you pick up a crap gun, whatever it ends up being, but there's the potential to make it useful later by giving it to something or donating it to like an altar. There's always uses for even just bad items.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
Unless the RNG screws you and you hardly get any guns, which I've had happen a number of times.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's just sort of part of it, right?
But I mean, you can still, like, even if you get, you know, non-gun stuff, you can sell passives and active items and stuff like that too, which is, you know, nice, because it's like I'm always like, I'm a big proponent of passives, and I think, you know, I've said it before and I'll say it again, like, passives definitely have the ability to turn like an okay good run into potentially a great run, right? And because they can make even shitty weapons like actually kind of usable, you know, different things that affect all your bullets for all your guns. So there's a chance that your bullets will ignite or they'll shock or do this, and, you know, of course they can stack and stuff like that. So even if you're not, you know, sometimes we're like, oh, I'm not getting any good guns or whatever, that bad attitude or that like negativity can be offset if I get a couple good passives or something like that. Right. So it's like, yeah, definitely like look at the bigger picture type of game. Like, there's one gun the first few times I got the Beehive. I was like, oh, bees, big deal. It's like a boss slaying machine, because like I never really thought it. Like most guns, you shoot directly. You know, you hit them and they do damage and stuff. Yeah. Bees, you go on the other side of the room, you just hold it, and they friggin' go over there and they kill the tank for you.
Focus on dodging.
I was like, shit, man, like, that's like huge. Or like the t-shirt cannon, I got that, and I'm killing these guys. I wasn't killing the guys. That was the problem. I was like, you were adorning them
with clothing, right?
Yeah, but then it's like on the non-boss guys, it's got great knockback, right? So you knock them back into the little voids and they fall down and stuff. Okay. As like, man, you're like it's you take a step back and like look at what the gun truly does, and at least look at how you can synergize it with other guns, because even a lot of the ones where I'm like, this is just straight up a garbage gun, it can actually be, you know, you guys remember Halo 2 plasma pistol battle rifle?
Oh yeah, I do. You're goddamn right, I do. You say you remember Halo 2 and then you follow that up with anything, and I'm your guy.
Yeah, so plasma pistol by itself, whatever, like you're not going to kill a guy quickly with it. But you do charge up, takes off their shield, switch to the BR, pop them in the head, dead. Like, that was like, that's kind of what I'm talking about with this game. It's like, you might find the plasma pistol and you're like, whatever. But then you're like,
this motherfucker talking like I don't know about the noob combo. Come on.
Well, I'm just, for, not you, but for, you know, people in general, just that haven't. Anyway, so yeah, it's cool. It really makes you string stuff together. I like it.
Yeah. Agreed. Woo! All right, more Gungeon talk, I'm sure, on the way in future episodes. For now, we all love it, and you should go get it, because it's very, very good. Available now on Steam. Currently 10% off all the way through April 12th. It's going to run you $13.49 US. And I'm gonna put Paladins on the shelf, I think, if everybody's okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. Time for everybody's favorite segment. It's Nick's. Nope, just kidding. It's Ask Roundtable. Woohoo! I'm confused. Ask Roundtable is a segment we do every week where you send in your questions to roundtableyt@gmail.com, and we do our best to answer them. This question comes from Demetrius, which is a fantastic name. Demetrius sent us a very detailed email. I'm going to get down to the summation of it. I apologize, Demetrius. He says, in the modern era of gaming, secrets are much harder to design, which I wholeheartedly agree with. Which method or combination of methods of designing secrets do you think is best? Do you guys think is best? Mathas, let's start there.
Yeah. Damn it, I was going to say, I'm more interested to hear what Nick is going to say.
I am too interested in what Nick has to say, honestly. But
because I'm not really one to really discuss, I don't think about that kind of thing. The thing I think nowadays what makes secrets so hard to design is just the existence of the internet. Because secrets back in the day with like PlayStation 1 era and 64, even PlayStation 2 to an extent, you didn't really have just like I couldn't just Google something and like find out where all the secrets in the game were just like that. That was something like you heard from word of mouth through other friends that playing the game and they discovered this neat little trick or the secret that was in the game that you had no idea was there. Nowadays, you know, people are like data mining and it's just all on the internet within a week. So how you would go about it and like what tactics you would use to implement secrets nowadays, unless you would like completely black yourself out from the internet while you're playing a game, I don't know. I don't know how you would approach it. So that's why I'm interested to hear Nick's like more analytical view on it, because I think Nick, I think you have the perfect mind.
Let me jump in here. Hold on.
Shut up, Baer. Shut up.
You have nothing to say here. Let the intelligent men speak. I feel like there's a distinction to be made though between like the ultra uber mega secrets that everybody I think is considering here, you know, like things like The Lost and The Binding of Isaac, for example, that I think Demetrius actually alluded to. And then just looking at, well, like, let's look at The Binding of Isaac as sort of a threshold for this. There's things like secret rooms, right, which are inherently secrets, which are things that are not, you know, part of the beaten path, so to speak. So those are technically, I guess, would fall into that same category. And I don't know, like, are we talking about how to make the most amazing hidden crazy secrets we can, or are we talking about just like the base level stuff?
I think you just got to take it at whatever you decide you take it at.
Yeah
Really, because that's, I don't know, there's no like defining guide to how that person asked that question. So
fair enough. Fox, how do you make
I
a
just
secret?
remember this. I don't know, secrets. I think secrets are no fun. Secrets hurt someone. No,
Okay.
No, I'm
is that
fine
your final answer?
I don't know. I just remember when Binding of Isaac Rebirth came out, right, and the Lost character, like, it seemed like, you know, Ed and company were a little bitter that people like immediately found out because they go into the code and stuff like that. But when I actually looked up like how you had to like find out about that character, I was like,
it was fucking
you're
cryptic as
probably
shit.
more likely to like actually win the Powerball or Powerball or whatever you Yankee Doodles play down there.
You
Yankee
condescending
Doodles.
ass.
Wow. And you're never coming back.
And I was like, that's like too specific, and like you got it 4 times in a row. So it's like, you know, like did they actually not want people to like naturally find out about it? Like nobody, and even if a person accidentally came upon that, how many like of them do you think would have recorded or like, you know, taken down notes like, you know, I died here, I died there.
My problem with The Lost and that particular secret in
hints.
general, I feel like there were hints. You are correct. Like you had to like have what, the missing poster or whatever to figure it out.
If you see the poster and you sacrifice yourself in the curse room, I think the icon that shows up, there's a picture that's a hint for each.
Yeah.
My complaint about the secret, The Lost, I feel, and this is just personal preference, obviously, so take that with what you will. I think secrets should always be optional within a game, and having a secret lock away like items and stop you from hitting 100%, I guess, in the game, and like locking away, I don't want to say critical items, but fun items within the game, makes it so that it's not necessarily. It feels kind of. I don't want to say ill will towards from the developer because I know it's not. But it feels kind of just dirty to lock away game content with secrets. Secrets should always be optional, fun, Easter eggy type things. Like secrets in Dark Souls, for instance, are always like lore based. They're not really stopping you from playing the game, but they're always optional, and they should be optional. But when you lock away a good chunk of the game, like 4, 5, 6, or 7 items from Isaac, because you have to figure out where the lost is, that's when I start feeling like, well, go fuck yourself, because the only way we're going to figure out about this stuff is people data mining it. So I don't care if you are mad about it, because oh well.
There's so when I think about how people actually make the secrets, I wonder how they get from the inception of the idea to the final version of it being hidden away in the game. Like, for example, with The Lost, there was clearly a breadcrumb trail that they had laid out that they were hoping people would follow, right? There was the whole missing poster thing. There was a few other very subtle minor hints that they were hoping people would be able to piece together. But when you're looking at designing that, I feel like you have to try to step back from your, how do we make this as difficult as possible to let's try to look at this from the perspective of the people trying to solve it, and instead of designing it from the end forward, I may be getting this backward in my head, but I'm trying to explain it as you want to try to design it so that you yourself could solve it if you had no knowledge of Forefront, which is obviously impossible because you know what you know, but that's like what you have to most importantly consider.
Yeah. The place where people, I think, are getting off base with that kind of thing is that they're actually considering the internet forums and things like that to be part of the experience of their game. And I personally, I don't know, maybe I'm a purist when it comes to this, but I really like for these works to be self-contained. I like for every bit of that, reward system to be built into the experience itself. And the way that you have to approach secrets, and it's actually like a much more pervasive thing than I think you even really consider, because secrets are part of the visual language of any game. If you're looking at the way that you walk around in Hyper Light Drifter, you start out going, all right, I don't know really what could be hidden because I don't really know where the walls are possible to be transparent. I don't really know where there could be a space where there's invisible tiles floating in the sky. I don't know how to even parse any of this yet. And part of the discovery element, it's a reward every step of the way because you're learning about a language that the developer wants to teach you that rewards you with more things that reward you in the game. So it's a sort of a snowball effect when you start, and then it results in you feeling powerful because you learned something and then you came out the other side being excited by these things. And when you take something to a really large extent like the way Dark Souls did it, and you hide away large, massive chunks of the game, like how exciting could that be for the player? And that's really what we're all about in video games, right? You want to kindle that sense of discovery and that excitement. So anytime when you can cause the player to just revel in that excitement, that's the best moment. So secrets are huge.
Yeah.
And when you do them right, they can make a game that was rewarding feel amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, look at The Witness. The whole game is an enigma.
Yeah.
Basically.
The Witness is sort of an interesting example, though, considering like that whole game is a one big secret, more or less.
The best example of how they teach you a language for what secrets are. Because the whole game, like you said, is a secret. And they're teaching you the language of how to understand them. And even if you don't see it as discreetly as you do in that game, if you're looking for things like Super Metroid, you learn what spaces would make sense for Samus to roll into a ball and try to bomb.
Yeah. Right?
Like, that's all part of the whole experience. And secrets falter to a large degree when they don't understand they're trying to teach you a language. They think, well, arbitrarily, there should be a secret here because I've decided that the level design dictates this. Or I just want to put a secret here, and there's no real reason why you would ever look for it there. That's when the whole thing falls apart.
Yeah,
I think that's my argument. That's my problem with The Lost, I guess, in general, is like the way you would say you didn't have Reddit, like, or anybody telling you how to do it. The way that they like using the language of the game is experimenting with items and trying to figure out what they do and how you do it, which is how like killing mom with the Bible is a really cool secret, and that you get an achievement for it, unlock stuff. But the way you figure out the Lost blind is like taking the missing poster, going to the sacrifice room, killing yourself, getting a hint, trying to piece those hints together, then doing 4 things consecutively without fucking them up. Like, that is so, it doesn't feel like the rest of the game. right? And it just feels so fucking buried. And without the internet, I would never, ever have figured out the loss. And I'd be missing out a huge chunk of the game.
And
I generally... Sorry, go ahead, Fox.
I was just going to say, to me, like, you know, the missing poster, sacrifice room, that's not like a breadcrumb to me, right? I don't think like, oh, it makes sense that those two pieces of like those are the corners of the puzzle. Like you make a puzzle, you start with the corners like that. That's kind of like arbitrary. Like you're saying, it's just like, you know, there's no real language secret. Yeah. So that's kind of what I don't really like about it. Is like,
and I don't take the argument like, well, it was meant for the internet to figure out. Not everybody's gonna be on the fucking internet figuring it out. That's just not everybody just like goes to Reddit to figure things out.
I mean, I taking that at face value, I think it is a valid point, though. Like the era of secrets has changed inherently with the internet, right? I think it's sort of assumed to a degree when they're designing things like this that there might be some sort of internet help associated with it, right?
Then don't get mad when people data mine it.
Yeah, no,
that's
valid
sort of a
too.
mixed message in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. Like they're mad that people fucking figured it out in like the illegitimate way.
Yeah.
But
that if you want to say the internet's for helping out, then don't get mad when people figure it out via using the internet. And
you kind of just have to accept that all things possible in your game will be known very quickly, and you just have to kind of roll with that. And the idea is hopefully to just make it a meaningful experience for the individual and make them feel rewarded, not about like, oh, I let our community down, or I'm frustrated because our community did a thing we didn't want. It's just about the one-to-one from the developer to the individual person playing the game. And, you know, you can't be a community yourself, right?
Yeah,
so, like, why... Like, it doesn't follow that they would be speaking to a community and not an individual. Do you know what I'm saying? Or is that...
I get you.
No, it makes sense.
You know...
What the bigger problem, and I agree with pretty much everything you were saying, I found it a bit frustrating as well. What it did for me, though, that even took it another level of frustration, was it told me that the language of this game was going to be that there will be things that are so hidden that you may never find them. Then when we found them, there was nothing else hidden. And then it went, oh, the game's just over now. Like, that was the most exciting part, was finding it out. And now that you found it out, like, the reward is you get to play as a really annoying character. Right? That's not how secrets work.
In order to get 100% and get that last achievement, you have to beat everything with him.
And that's the thing, is they essentially, I don't know if they knew this, but they should have known it. You're forcing so many people to go to the internet. As soon as they say, oh, there's another character, oh, there's like several items that I get by beating the game with this character that I don't have. I have no freaking clue how to do this. I don't want to do this. I'm going to go on the internet. Like, how do I do this? Like, that is what happened for me. And I know probably for a lot of other people. So it's like, you can't be mad at me for that. Like, I'm sorry, but like, give me at least a little thread that I can find in the game a little more easily if I'm being attentive, not like this missing number bullshit.
Yeah. Twitch viewers, press 1 in chat if you found the loss legitimately, by the way, and didn't look on the internet.
Yeah, I think we're coming across so much more bitter than we actually are about this.
I love
we're just using it as an example.
The lost is just the most prominent example of a very big hidden secret that I think in recent memory. That's mostly why we're referring to it. Spelunky, yeah, that's true.
I quite like the way Spelunky approached it, and that even had a community trying to take it apart, and yet it still felt like it was somewhat enigmatic for some reason. Why is that, actually?
You know what? That's actually a really great point. The eggplant in particular was just like an excellent secret. And what's interesting about that, too, is I feel like I've said this sentence like 5 times in the past 2 weeks, but I was reading in the Spelunky book that he kind of threw the eggplant in as just like an afterthought. So it was like Eirik is how you say his name, the soundtrack composer. I'm not sure. I think it's Eirik. He was talking to Derek, and he wanted to have like a special song in the soundtrack for himself. So he's like, let's put it so if you. They were like they included like their G chat conversation about how they were trying to figure out what to do for his special little secret song. And they were just like, well, let's maybe like if you put an unopened gift box on an altar, it'll turn into something, and then a song will play.
Right.
And they're like, what do you want to turn it into? It's just like I don't know, an eggplant. And then, like, it didn't happen like that, but, you know, it's just like, it just sort of organically became, let's do an eggplant. That sounds cute. And then, like, right before the game shipped or something like that, Derek was like, well, we got to do something with the eggplant. It can't just not be anything. So I'll make it so if you hit King Yama with it, then his head will blow up into a giant purple eggplant. And it was so insignificant when they were talking about it. Like, it's just this silly little thing that they throw in. And then that was like the only thing that mattered for like 2 months of Spelunky's era was, oh my god, the eggplant. Like, what do we do with this? And because no one knew either. Like, I remember playing on Xbox Live and just like that entire 2012 time for Spelunky, no one had any fucking idea what the eggplant was. I didn't even know it existed.
Yeah. Even better was how when Banana did it solo, right?
Yeah.
B-Rex, sorry, you know, I know Ryan hates it when I call him Banana.
That is weird.
They were like,
B-Rex.
we didn't think you could actually do it. Like, they thought you had to actually do co-op.
Yeah.
For that to happen, so it was like kind of a cool little Easter egg surprise
for them too.
In both directions,
so
yeah.
like,
everybody got something.
Which is pretty impressive.
So I guess that's the takeaway here is in order to make the best secret possible, don't try. Just have it be a total accident.
No, that was an example of a really good return on a very small programming investment. Because, for example, what it did, it made it so you could really give the community a reward, or whoever in the community figured this thing out, the reward of this incredible amount of infamy for doing something very difficult for what amounts to essentially like one changed flag in a variable somewhere. It's like they knew it was going to be an incredibly difficult challenge, and somebody wanted to take it up on it. And just the fact that it hadn't been done, and the mystery around how do you do it, or is it possible to do, drives this ingenuity in the same way that speedrunners try and figure out how to min-max everything. And people totally get off on that whole concept.
Yeah. Well, it's super
so adding
cool.
something that minor is just a huge deal for game players, and we love that kind of shit.
I mean, it's also important to note that Spelunky's like one of the best games of the past 5 years, so that's sort of unique there too.
I don't say it to many games, but I feel very comfortable saying Spelunky's like an instant classic.
Yeah.
I feel
fairly
like,
timeless,
you know, you're going to pick it up 10 years from now, and you're like, oh, shit, the muscle memory is going to kick in a little bit, and...
Man.
You're not going to go, man, this game looks like shit now, or man, this game controls really badly now because we've got all these updated things. It's going to hold up. It just will.
What, this game doesn't even have a direct neural link input? Come on, what year is it? What's going on?
So
this is the unfortunate nature of why PS1 developers went this... They just wanted to make these really bland-looking like 3D games that weren't going to look good in 10 minutes. And then that kind of thinking carried on for way too long, and it makes them depreciate in inherent worth, I think, when you look back on them. Whereas something with a strong art style with like nice looking 2D graphics can live on forever. I really think that's important to consider when you're making a game. How will this receive in 10 years or 20 years or 50 years?
Yeah, but does it play in 60 frames per second?
See? There's the
and will it play in 120 frames in 5 years when that's the new thing?
Whatever, man. We're gonna be we won't even count things in frames anymore. It'll be like some sort of infinitesimal measurement that we don't even comprehend at this point.
I love this topic, by the way. If you guys want to send us more questions along the lines of this, I would love to get into them. These are my favorite discussions of all.
Thank you very much.
I could do this for 10 hours.
Thank you very much, Demetrius, for this question. It was fantastic. We really appreciate it. Send your questions into roundtableyt@gmail.com if you would like to have them answered in future shows. Actually, please do send more, by the way. I think we're running a little low again, so feel free to jump in there. Time for everybody's favorite segment after their favorite segment. It's Nick's Weird Games. Every single week, Nick's going to go grab a weird game from his collection of weird games. No Ryan for the theme song this time, but Nick, go ahead and grab your game. Oh, did you have one, Fox?
I got a good one.
Yeah.
Do it.
Do it,
Believe
man.
it or not, it's Nick's Weird Games. Please leave a game at the beep. I don't remember the rest of it.
No, keep going.
No, please leave a game at the beep. Believe it or not, Nick's Weird Games.
You missed like half of the song, man.
I told you, I forgot.
Nick must be out or he'd have a weird game. Where could he be? Oh, there he is. Hey, Nick's here with a weird game.
Hi. Dude, this is awesome. I didn't even realize the one that I just picked out is still factory sealed.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
That's fantastic. Okay.
All right, I'm ready. Let's do it. Hi, chat. Hang on.
Chat, feel free to play along, chat, if you're the first one to get it. Ideally, we'll be able to shout you out, but we'll probably forget.
Yeah, the problem is I can't. No, it's not that I forget. It's that chat scrolls too far.
Yeah,
By the time we get to the bottom, I can't see the first people that guessed it anymore.
We just got to guess faster. That's on our end.
Yeah, maybe. I do draw it out a bit long.
Yeah.
Anyway, today's game, we've got a
you
PS2
don't.
game. I don't? I
You're
should draw it out
fine.
longer?
You're fine. Just
All
go.
right. We got a PS2 game released in North America in 2004, March 30th specifically. Action-adventure RPG, has single-player and multiplayer. Again, it's a PS2 game. Now, the interesting thing about this game is it's a sequel, so I'm giving you that info, and it's exclusive to PS2, whereas the original, meaning the one before the sequel, was exclusive to the opposite platform. So this is one that crossed barriers from one to the next.
So
Instead
went
of
from
Xbox
Xbox to
2D?
PS2.
Exactly right.
Ah.
It's 2D, you said?
No, it's a 3D action-adventure game, RPG as well. It's a sci-fi type of thing.
He said it's a
Time
sequel.
Splitters?
It's a sequel, yes. No, it's not Time Splitters.
Oh, that's my guess for everything.
All right, let me
good
read
guess.
some stuff off the back here if I could find stuff that makes sense. All right, here we go. Invasion. It's a full-scale war against alien menace. You're mankind's last chance for survival. Wow, how many things could that fit?
Right?
I know, right?
XCOM?
That's the most vague thing I've ever read out loud. New. Over 60 non-linear character-based missions. Crush waves of alien predators in high-intensity combat. No, the word predator has nothing to do with it being a predator. Just keep
This
that
is
in
still
mind.
literally like 250 games.
Oh, I know. We're gonna pare it down soon here, I hope. New. 2-player co-op versus competition modes. New characters, relentless enemies, and vicious bosses. New. Time extend and overdrive attacks. Change the tide of battle with devastating neo-psionics. So we cross the sci-fi fantasy realm there a little bit.
Ah, yeah.
We can explore strange worlds across the galaxy Theophilus, or Theophilus maybe.
Theophilus.
Upgradable weapon system, attack with guns and blades. More than twice as many missions as the original. RPG story elements and 4 challenging modes of play.
Sounds like if Star Trek was a game.
With gun
Yeah,
blades.
I've given you still very little here, other than the word, whatever I just said, Theophilus. So there's a characteristic that was inherited from the game Samurai Warriors, if that gives you any indication. The game was published by Koei, which kind of makes sense with that.
Is it one of the Three Kingdoms games?
No.
Okay.
Alien
it has
invaders.
bullet time,
Huh.
and it features 2 protagonists to choose between, named either Sho or Fine.
Man, published
Missions
by
take
Were
place
there
on-
more? Were there
Yeah.
more of this game later?
No, I think this is as far as this went.
Okay.
Then Koei
Although
started
I
to
don't
make
know a ton about it.
the Romance of the Three Kingdoms and Dynasty Warriors Forever.
Yeah, probably. That
Yeah.
seems about right.
But
Missions
before
take
that, they
place
had
on
something.
one of Theophilus's 4 planets. More locations can be unlocked if the player completes missions with a higher rank.
Man. This is like, I feel like this is the closest I'm going to get to one, but I don't know it. Because like I know the entire timeline of this company like after 2004 and apparently
Oh, yeah?
this is where it cuts off.
Exactly right. Yeah, right
Yeah,
where it
God.
started learning it is where this took place.
I don't know though.
I could just read another little excerpt here.
Yeah, hit me with another excerpt.
2 years after the events of the first title, the star system Theophilus is under attack by a force called Menace. Sent to defend the galaxy once more, Sho meets a new Vipa named Fine. Or Vipa, I don't know how you say that, who is seemingly tied to the Menace. Together, they fight to destroy Menace and discover Fine's true origin.
I don't think I know.
I don't know either.
The only thing that's coming to my head when you say alien invaders is like fucking Earth Defense Force, but that there was more after that, and I don't even know if
Yeah.
there were any that early on.
The footage that I saw of this, and again, reminding you mine is still wrapped, I haven't actually played this one. The footage that I saw of this actually looked a little like Earth Defense Force, so it's not a terrible guess, I suppose. But it is unfortunately incorrect. You want me to go ahead and show you?
go
Yeah,
ahead.
sure. What we got?
All right, our game today is called Crimson Sea 2.
Crimson C2. I don't think I've ever seen that cover actually.
That
I
looks
don't-
so much like a Koei game, man.
Yeah, look at the cover is just like a Koei game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Huh, interesting. I don't think I've
There's
ever
the
played it.
invasion.
Like, if
It
you
was
just
rather generic and vague, but it was received well amongst reviewers when it came out. So
just to drive that point home, I'm going to go ahead and allow people to have a look at what the Google search result for Koei video games looks like, and if you just have a quick gander at all these thumbnails here. Yeah, it's like basically all the exact same.
Yeah,
style.
same pose, same kind of look on their face. The first person I see that got it in chat, and my apologies if this is not correct, but the first person I see is Zadrunas, so congrats.
Yay!
Good job.
You nailed it there.
Well
Beat
done.
us again.
Crimson Sea 2. I don't own Crimson Sea 1 either, so this is the only...
Wait, you have a
Nintendo-
shrink-wrapped copy of Crimson Sea 2.
Shrink-wrapped on the top, see that?
Nice.
I think
Wow.
Lily Omega might have gotten it
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah?
first.
Well, there you go. 2 shout-outs
To both
then.
of you, well done.
Congrats.
Good job, both of you. We suck
No small
again.
feat.
We are, I think we've gotten, what, like 5 total maybe across...
No, you've done better than you expect, actually.
Have we?
I've been marking everyone you got. I can count them all up if you give me a second
Please
here.
do, yeah.
1, 2.
I've got to
Count
open
them
the
all in one
document.
hand, right? While you do that, I will say thank you guys very much for watching this episode of Roundtable Live. It is live every Friday, ideally, here at 3 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific time, here on twitch.tv/Roundtable Podcast. If you missed any part of today's show, the VOD will be available over on my channel, youtube.com/BaerTaffy, or one of these two guys, MathasGames or RockLeeSmile, should have the VOD up as well. Catch us over on our subreddit. That's roundtablepodcast.reddit.com. You can follow us on Twitter at RoundtablePC. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and also download it on SoundCloud if you like the MP3 files. Thank you guys very much for the support over on Patreon as well. Just want to give a quick shout out to our $20 and up Patreon supporters this week. By the way, thank you very much to the huge influx of people. We did a little call to arms last week. And there have been a bunch of new $1 patrons, a bunch of new $5 patrons, a few new like 20 and up patrons as well. So thank you guys so much for that.
And we really appreciate it for real.
Seriously.
It really means a lot to us that we can keep doing this and that you enjoyed enough to want to sponsor us for that.
Yeah, thank you kindly for that.
And we had 12, by the way. You've gotten about a third of them. Believe it or not.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. That's way higher than my expectation. Quick shout out for our patrons above $20 for this show include Julian Abelsgaard, Scrotty119, Greenlight, Mavier, Oren Seltzman, Christopher Flagg, General Crunk, Alexander Spillman, Jonathan Graham, Matt, Brizzlebrit, Mythscarab, Eric Schooley, Mediocrities, Super Monoman, Smurfette, Logan Ray, Justin Positron, and Ignacio. Thank you guys so much for your support over there on Patreon. Thank you all for your support every which way, and thank you for watching Roundtable Live. We are done, right? We're done with the show. I think we're done with the show.
Yeah, we'll be back next Friday.
Back next Friday. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right.